Here's a fly ball out towards center field. This one's going back, and this one is gone! Taylor gets this one out towards center field to the short porch, and it's a grand slam! That's a floater, out to short. And it's booted off the shortstop's glove! Just like they drew it from Hollywood. Caladros, the 3-2. Swing and a miss! And the Audubon Green Wave have upset the Kingsway Dragons! Grant Fournier, two-run shot to right. From sunny Runnymede on the Black Horse Pike Corridor, it's John Oaks Stadium for Thursday night football here on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting. It's a rematch from last year, and it's one that was highly touted as we bring you a battle on Clements Bridge Road between Mays Landing and Runnymede programs. It's the ACIT RedHawks and the Triton Mustangs on DWB on this Thursday night. It's a beautiful Thursday here from Runnymede, here for our third straight year of covering a Triton game. I'm Dan Wilkins, joined by Colin Morris on the call this evening from John Oaks Stadium. It looks like ACIT just got the coin toss, and they're going to receive the first half kickoff. But hey, ACIT, one of the newest programs in all of South Jersey. They're 2-0 to start their second season. They had 2 wins last year, and their second in program history was right here. They won 14-7 last year, and they find themselves in another situation where they could be on a very good start to just, again, their second year as an NJSIAA program. That shows how rare it is to see tech schools represented in high school football. It's common in pretty much every other sport, but for football, it's really only Atlantic Tech and Passaic Tech. But tonight, it's going to be an interesting game, especially for these two programs.
Yeah, and a second-year program in ACIT is going to come in a well-respected Triton football program here in Runnymede. I mean, Chris Mancuso at the helm again. I mean, he's a, obviously a Holy Spirit grad. He was, spent time over at Pleasantville and St. Augustine Prep, and is a graduate of Rhode Island. But him at the helm, this ACIT team is, they've really had a good start here. Had their first win last year against Deffert on the road for every single game up until this point. So it's really impressive what ACIT is doing early on here.
Yeah, they're the road warriors. They've only got one home game this year versus St. Joe's Hamilton, and even that is a neutral site game in Brigantine. But yeah, I mean, what's great for ACIT is that they have that running back and quarterback combo ready to go for year 2. It wouldn't be easy if Mancuso had to do his second year with a new duo back in the backfield, but they still have David Nixon Matos, the leading rusher, and they still have Anthony Gaetano, who last year in the first quarter rushed 61 yards to the house on a QB rush to get into the end zone for ACIT's first score of the day. But today, it's going to be different. ACIT's 2-0, 20-19 win at Vineland at the famous Gattoni Stadium, and then a shutout 21-win road win over Deptford. They come into this game with high hopes, looking to start 3-0 here in WJ Memorial play. But I'll tell you this, also with Triton, they've got a darn good quarterback this year in Jake Mannion. Thrown for almost 400 passing yards in just the first 2 games. He's thrown for 2 TDs in every game that we've seen from Mannion this year, and he comes into this game looking for a little revenge. Of course, they had to have Michael Lewis last year. He graduated, and now we find ourselves in a different situation where Triton's coming in with a new quarterback, first-year starter quarterback, and Triton now finds themselves in a situation where they don't want to go 1-3. They want to exit week 3 with a 2-2 500 record.
And that's the thing for Triton, and Coach Tamio has been that quarterback carousel. Who's going to be at the helm for the Triton Mustangs? They started off most of last year with the wide receiver, Jalen Morris. Just heavy run game. Big receiver, as obviously is not naturally a quarterback, and then they kind of shifted to Frankie Williams, who's now a senior, and he did the job. He wasn't too flashy, wasn't too excellent in terms of stats. However, he got them to the playoffs. He secured them a playoff spot. He did a good amount of winning with them. However, some struggles early on in 2025. Camden Eastside came out and threw 3 interceptions early, and it's tough competing in a high school football program, and Jake Mannion was able to step in and get the job done right away, so it'll be interesting to see what he can do today in just his 3rd start ever. Yeah, Williams had the first start of the year versus Camden Eastside, and now the shift is focused to Jake Mannion, the junior quarterback donning number 16. Triton's going to go through the Mustang banner in just a moment. We'll have the national anthem, kickoff, and more here from the famous John Oaks Stadium in Runnymede. A lot of folks that we know through DWB have played here and have stayed on this very coaching box, but again, I'm Dan Wilkins with Colin Morris, David Cohen pressing the buttons tonight on the production as we've got Thursday night football between the RedHawks and the Mustangs right after this.
Say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
All right, so a Triton Regional student, couldn't catch her name, but great rendition of the Star-Spangled Banner, as we've got Thursday night football between the Atlantic Tech RedHawks and the Triton Mustangs. Of course, this being a DWB rematch from last year, a game that saw a 7-6 Triton lead going into the half. ACIT scored 8 points in the third quarter, won this game 14-7 this time last year, which happened to be on my mother's birthday. That's not until tomorrow, but today we have, again, WJFL Memorial action. I'm Dan Wilkins, Colin Morris up in the booth, David Cohen on the production. Our full weekend for DWB this week 3 that we're currently in. We have this tonight, Delsea Kingsway tomorrow, and Woodstown Woodbury on Saturday. So we've got a mix of the big schools, the medium-sized schools, and the small schools all together. As it looks like Triton is going to kick this thing off, again, we were talking about those cues from the RedHawks when they got the coin toss, as the RedHawks with a 1-2 start, a 2-0 start to their 2025 season in just their second year of membership to New Jersey football. One of the rare tech school breeds in New Jersey, certainly an even rarer kind in South Jersey. Braden Lewis will kick this one off. We'll be ready to go. 48 minutes of Thursday night football is underway with a squib out to the 30 and a big hit to take him down. Number 5, Jalen Morris, who, as Colin mentioned in the open, lined up as a quarterback for most of this season. And he ends up putting himself in a good position there, as ACIT will have looks like a start from around the 30.
And Jalen Morris has been one of those guys that Triton, he can really just kind of do it all. I mean, we saw him obviously at quarterback. He's their second leading rusher in 2025. He can catch it, he can play special teams, and he's on defense. So not sure what he can't do, but it'll be exciting to watch him tonight.
Fixing a technical issue, so the lower third not appearing yet, but handoff to Nixon Matos, right side. He's going to get about 8 yards that time. And it'll be second and short for the RedHawks, who again beat Vineland at famous Gattoni Stadium 20-19 on opening week, and then Deptford, a shutout, which is where ACIT picked up their first program win last year in a 2-win campaign, but still improving here. There we go. We'll adjust the time. Right now we're looking at 11:20 and counting. Second and 2 from their own 38-yard line after lining up on the 30 with a squib kick by Braden Lewis. Jet sweep, hit at the waist, and brought to the ground that time. The rush by number 8, Brahim Knight. David Mixon-Natos, he'll be a player that you can spot pretty easily with the Guardian. Actually, no, that's number 4.
He was able to get at the legs.
Looks like
stop the run. It is third
no,
down.
it does look like that number 3, Nixon Matos, is the one with the Guardian cap. Of course, that was added to the list of accessories allowed by the NJSIAA last year. And you can see as well, number 9, Xavier Pagan lining up with a Guardian cap as well. So, again, always good for a safety development, as this is a tight formation for ACIT after a neutral gain. Oh, and that's going to be incomplete. They do call it a forward pass, though. Triton tried to fall on it, but it'll be incomplete. So a rush for 8 yards, a jet sweep and an incompletion, and a very quick minute 40-second first drive puts ACIT and the special teams unit on the field.
And it looked like, if I'm not mistaken, he might have got hit by his own guy there coming back. You know, just a little confusion there. As you said, tight set for ACIT, and the RedHawks unable to convert here on an early first drive.
This feels more reminiscent of Group 1 football. The punter is the quarterback, Anthony Gaetano. He's going to go out and return this. Can't get the jersey number of the man returning for Triton. The Mustangs can't tell back there. This will be sent away. He'll get this one back. No fair catch. He'll keep this one going. That is Morris on the return, who gets down at the 28-yard line, and now we'll see Triton's offensive unit coming on the field. Starting off with number 16, Jake Mannion, the junior quarterback, who will be making his third start as a Mustang at the varsity level. Let's take a look at what his stats have to offer in our player profile of the week for, again, the Triton Mustangs. Lining up on offense today, it is Jake Mannion, who Frankie Williams was the starting quarterback for the first week, but he's only had 8 incompletions all year. 23 for 31, 4 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. 223 of those passing yards came last week versus Cherry Hill East. That was a 28-14 loss. Man in motion, low snap. He will take it himself, finds a gap in the O-line, and trucks his way up to the 35. That'll be a gain of about 7. As, well, first of all, the man that they were sending in motion was Noah Kalame, and then, for whatever reason, just snap was a little bit low, and was able to it's only a gain of 5, but I'm still impressed by how he handled that even after the snap was low.
Yeah, and something we'll talk about multiple times, I'm sure, today is for Jake Mannion is he has weapons on this offense. I mean, we talked about Jalen Morris already, but as you mentioned there, Noah Kalame, I mean, he's another one who's been a monster in his junior year so far. He's been their second receiver, not to mention the running back room they have. It's been kind of a split all couple of the ways. Morris,
the rush, no gain there, a little bit of a shove, and the whistles finally fly for about a gain of 2. He's going to be at the 35. Well, I'll tell you, these have been quick drives so far. If Triton doesn't convert here, it was only a minute and 42 seconds that ACIT was on the field prior to their incompletion and punt. We're only 3 minutes into this ball game, and we're already setting up on 3rd and short. So it is actually 3rd and 2 from the 37-yard line. So I'm a little bit surprised by how they spotted that on the forward progress, but either way, Triton with a chance to advance on 3rd and short. Here in what is their second home game, or actually their third home game of the year, because they had Camden Eastside to open, which they lost that game 21-7. Still looking for their first win at home at John Oak Stadium this year. Handoff, left side, that's not going to go anywhere. That will be a 3rd down stop by the RedHawks defense. Jaden Mank, the captain senior on the rush that time, unable to get any ground, and he might have actually lost a yard or 2 on the play. Question is, well, it looks like Jake Mannion staying on the field. So
and his 4th down.
The early thinking is that Triton's going to keep the offense on.
And I was getting ready to say how big this Triton drive is. You know, just forced a 3 and out from ACIT, and you know, if they can make this a long drive at home, I mean, this is an ACIT RedHawks team that's coming in here feeling good, right? I mean, they're 2-0 on the year through 2 weeks. They're looking to come into Runnymede and get a win, and for Triton, I think this is a big momentum killer for them. If they can get something going here on this first drive, it's going to be huge for the Mustangs down the road.
We will see what Mustangs have in store. No gain on the last play. 4th and 2. First down markers at the 39. Keeper by Morris. He trips up, and it looks like that he had enough to get a first down. We will see, though, because they will call it a first down Triton. That's a lucky call, though, because there wasn't really anybody around him, but it looked like that he got maybe lost his footing a little bit on the grass and was luckily able to prevent a turnover that time.
He did, and ACIT caught a break. I mean, there were about 2 guys on that near side, you know, kind of over by us in the booth, and Jalen Morris, we've already talked about how electric he is, and you know, if he's able to make one guy miss, he might be having a house call. So pretty fortunate for ACIT there, but a first down for Mannion in the Triton offense nonetheless.
First and 10 from the 41. Left side. It's caught. Big hit and a big tackle made as he gets thrown to the ground. Triton wants a flag. I don't think they're going to get it, as the tackle was made very aggressively by the sophomore John Ortiz. The reception was made by number 6, Chika Okubiri.
No movement on the play.
Excuse me,
Second
14.
down.
Noah Kalame was on the reception that time, but the tackle was made by Ortiz. 2nd and 9. Gain of 1 on the play. As again, tried to throw it to the flat that time. Won't be too surprised if we see Triton keep the ball in the air a lot during these situations. As a handoff again to Mank. Will be up to the 44, it looks like. Again, small gains are still gains, but you have to figure out in the situation where you're going to go, as ACIT has a player down. That's number 6, Giovanni DiGregorio. And they will attend to him. So Mank got the carry that time. Where it sets up is 3rd and 6 from the 45. And as ACIT tends to this player, thoughts on Triton's first drive so far?
I mean, it's been, kind of slow to start, I guess I'll say. I think they got a little bit lucky. Jalen Morris just being elusive there and picking up that first down, as we talked about before he lost his footing. But for ACIT, we saw the hit on Kalame there. I mean, they're feeling it right now. I mean, they every single tackle, every single play. I mean, ACIT is, the momentum is with them, right? And Triton obviously coming off a rough loss to Cherry Hill East last Friday, right here in Runnymede. They're just trying to get their footing back. Had a winning season last year, so that obviously that's the goal, to get back to the playoffs. But right now, Triton, I think they just need to take it one play at a time, and they need to convert on 3rd and 6 here, because I think they need to slow down this RedHawks defense and team altogether.
Good news is that DiGregorio is up. Sans helmet. He is walking off to the side of the field under his own power. But yeah, ACIT is really feeling it. I mean, they are putting in a lot of pressure. And that is a good sign for a team that's 2-0. Again, it's not like this is a team that's been around for 60 years and we can talk about their history. Their history is literally about 10 games. I think if you combine 9 games last year, 2-7, and then the 2-0 start this year, yeah, this is their 12th game that they've ever played. So I'm very impressed with ACIT's limited sample size to how they've done so far. To the air, deep, one hand batted away. Great deflection that time on defense by Brahim Knight, as Mannion tried to look long downfield. The intended receiver looked like it was Morris. And back-to-back incompletions now set up. 4th and 6 from the 45, and it looks like Mannion's coming off the field, and it looks like we're going to see the special teams unit coming on. Morris will be back to punt. Although I will note that Braden Lewis is lined up as a kind of in a fullback position there. Curious if we might try to see a fullback fake. No, we do not. It's punted up in the air. Over towards the 15-yard line. No fair catch. He'll keep this one alive. Left side. Broke a tackle. Couldn't break 2. And the return will be made by number 9, Xavier Pagan. Because we had some technical difficulties during the first drive, let's introduce the starting quarterback for the RedHawks, Anthony Gaetano. 109 passing yards in 2 games this year. Last week versus Deptford went 4 for 11. No touchdowns last week. He's got 1 touchdown, 1 interception this week. And as we said, ACIT, a very new program to the New Jersey scene. Again, the newest high schools in all of New Jersey or all of South Jersey that I can think of. KIPP is in their 3rd year.
Right.
They opened in 2020 but didn't have athletics until I think 2023. And then before that, the latest I can think of is Cedar Creek, opened in 2010. Also down in Atlantic County. That's a spin and a fire and a tackle. They're going to make sure to keep him on those feet to avoid a 15-yard penalty. Rush was by Nazir McCone that time.
And you mentioned a little bit ago about, Brahim Knight on the deflection. He was the only one who had a receiving touchdown in that game last year in 2024. He had the pass from, for ACIT, and obviously a rushing touchdown is really what made the difference. But he had the game-tying touchdown in the first quarter last year. So seeing him on defense, a little bit of a different look from last year. But
Tell them to visit
Yeah, right now, I mean, 2nd and 8 right now, 2-yard rush that time. I like the fact that ACIT is kind of, they're experimenting a little bit. They're just getting into it. They punted last time. Triton punted last time. We're right now settling in for what could be a low-scoring affair just like last year. Macon up the middle. They will send him to the ground right at the line of scrimmage. Still at the 23-yard line. I don't think it's going to be spotted any differently. But talk about how time flies. We're only got 4.5 minutes left in the first quarter.
On the play, 3rd down.
That's the thing that happened last year with only 2 scores in the entire first half. Last year it was 7-6 at the half, and then 14-7 ACIT was the final. So right now, as we go into this, deeper and deeper into this ball game, it's going to be a question of how will these teams adapt, because this game is at Triton for the 2nd year in a row. ACIT does not have a proper home field, so every team kind of gets an additional home game, if you think about it. Deep downfield, he's got it at the 50-yard line, gets taken out of bounds by Braden Lewis, and a huge catch and reception by number 1. That'll be Kazir Stevenson that time as they flip the field, get themselves, looks like around the 40-yard line, as that is where they'll spot him. ACIT with a huge first down here in the first quarter.
And Kazir Stevenson, I mean, I'm not sure what happened on that play in terms of the Triton secondary, but he was wide open on that sideline. I mean, rolling out of the pocket, there was not many men near him. He has obviously been the number 1 receiver here at ACIT, very obviously to start the year, and he's been solid the whole way.
Yeah, I think you could hear the confusedness in my voice where I was just like, wait a second, why is he open that far downfield? They do give him that. It'll be a first down and a gain of 20+ on the play. Throw over, left side. They hit the flat. It is a flag coming deep downfield as the reception made by number 9.
Lewis again with the tackle.
We'll see,
a flag on the
again,
field.
Pagan. This is going to be our first flag of the game.
That came from way down there.
Yeah, that came from downtown. This is an offensive hold that's being called.
Interesting.
And remember, because he caught it, it's 10 yards from the spot of the foul. So
holding call against ACIT.
we'll see here where they put this. If it was an incompletion, it would be an automatic 10 yards, but because it's a completion, we'll see where they put this. And not going back to full 10, it looks like about from the 48, still in Triton territory, but it'll be a loss of 8, first and 18.
And that's interesting just because, from that kind of angle, that's usually either if you see like a holding in the secondary or, maybe a legal man down the field. But
I was surprised the flag came in from that referee on that side of the field. Thought it would have maybe come from the head ref behind the line of scrimmage.
And he's well into the red zone too. So
yeah. Keeper Gaetano gets wrestled up. That's either going to be neutral gain or a loss of 1. Honestly, in that situation, I would have rather him handed it off to Nasir Macon that time, but instead, it's a loss of 2, and we're now back to 2nd and 20 from the 50. And we're already down to our final 3 minutes of the first quarter. Again, here from John Oak Stadium, WJFL Memorial Division action. Scoreless so far. Again, last year's game between these two was rather low scoring. And in fact, it was the last time that we saw ACIT on DWB, September 19th of last year on another Thursday night. Dropping back, right side. This is Gaetano, throws it. It is incomplete. The intended receiver downfield was number 8, Brahim Knight. But double coverage that time by the Mustangs, and leading the charge was Kamel and number 3, Antonio Clary. And it'll be 3rd and 20. I like the fact that ACIT is playing urgent for the situation, though. I mean, on 1st and 18, I don't know if I would have gone with a QB keeper, but at the same time, passing on 2nd and 20, trying to find a man downfield and cut down as many of those yards as you could. I do like that strategy. So they hang on now to 3rd and 20. After the incompletion, they're at the midfield stripe at the 50.
I love that look,
Gaetano
too.
deep in the shotgun.
I love that look, too, from Gaetano. I mean, having him out of the pocket, I mean, this O-line is obviously a new O-line.
I thought he was going to keep it, yeah.
Right, but a new program. But
here we go. Gaetano hit as he throws. It's deep and incomplete. And Gaetano kind of flailing backwards there as he was hit as he threw, but I didn't think it was late enough to be roughing the passer. as they will send the punt crew out, which basically means keeping the quarterback on the field for the second straight drive.
And you don't see it a lot anymore, right, Dan? I mean, and he's been good. I mean, his first punt was not terrible. Obviously, there's nothing more they'd love to do than pin them inside the 10-yard line, but you're not going to see that a whole ton in high school football. So he hasn't been bad this year at all. Just
especially for a Group 5, which
right.
is funny enough. ACIT is 8th in Group 5 standings right now for South Central, the super group, as this one is up. Again, going to punt it inside the 20. Oh, good juke that time by Morris. He's down the sideline. He's at midfield, and he stepped out of bounds right about midfield. Anthony Gaetano almost pulled off a Mackenzie Ryan move that time.
And number 5,
but Morris will
punt.
bring it all the way back to midfield. I'm realizing I'm making a really niche reference. If you remember the ULM Alabama game from last week, the punter that clotheslined the returner, I'm realizing that now not everybody's watching a 73-0 Alabama football game. But
I understood it, if it makes you feel any better. But
yeah, you understood the reference. What did Pat McAfee say? Punters are people too. And that is what Anthony Gaetano did. I've been really impressed by his puntings. Back-to-back punts that have been returned inside the 20. Now, of course, Morris got a huge jump that time and returned it all the way back to Triton zone 48. But where the ball was spotted or where the ball was caught is still a really good position, especially for a quarterback-turned-punter. Mannion in the shotgun. They send Morris in motion. Handoff, right side. He'll break through, and he's got some blocks. Tugged at the back of his jersey all the way inside the 30. Rushed by John Pettigrew as he picks up at least, I think that was 22 yards on the play. That'll be a first down for the Mustangs as they'll spot this one at the 27-yard line. And Triton, on their first play of this second drive, finds themselves in opponent territory for the first time.
And that's just one of those many guys in that running back room for the Triton Mustangs. I mean, John Pettigrew, we'll see him on defense most tonight, but he has got some carries. He's the third, leading rusher on this squad, but it's all been pretty equal in terms of carries and yards. So Pettigrew, just one of those guys that's going to contribute tonight.
Handoff. Pettigrew tugged at the jersey, spins, gets himself up to the 20 that time. Man, I really like this progression here from Pettigrew. Back-to-back rushes for big gains. Obviously, 7 yards is not nearly as much of a gain as 24, but gets himself inside the red zone that time. They're at the 19. And in the last minute and a half of the first quarter, Triton putting themselves in a good spot. So they are at 2nd and 3. Again, Triton now inside the red zone. They struck first in last year's game between these two. And again, in a game that only saw 13 points in the first half, Pettigrew not getting the same luck. They say third time's the charm, but in this case, the adverse happened for John Pettigrew. It'll be a loss on the play. They'll lose actually 2 yards that time, back to the 21. It's 3rd and 4, and down to 35 seconds left in the first quarter. We could go the whole first without a score, which is something that we've only seen once this year.
And they really like Pettigrew, obviously, in the rushing game right now, and they've kind of had that filter in and out between Mank, Morris, and Pettigrew, and they've all been, as I mentioned, very, very equal, but Pettigrew seems to be getting the upper hand early on in tonight's game, but we'll see. I'm sure they're going to work in Mank, the senior captain, and Morris a good amount as well.
You haven't seen Mank take a carry yet as Pettigrew wrapped up in the backfield. He gets taken to the ground hard by number 99, Nathaniel Arelis. And that will be the last play of the first quarter as the clock hits 0. ACIT with a fantastic snap read ends the first quarter on a high note for the RedHawks defense. We're through 1 at John Oak Stadium in Runnymede on the Black Horse Pike corridor. We're scoreless after 1. The Triton Marching Band playing the top 40 playlist, I guess, on the radio, as we've got, at the end of the first quarter, no score. And yes, they are playing the song Hot to Go by Chapel Rowan. But I'm also noticing there's a gentleman who looks much older than the artist who recorded that song, that he's playing the marimba. So I guess it's hip for all the generations, as it's 4th down and 8 from the 26 as we flip the field for the second quarter. ACIT was able to wrap up Triton's defense pretty nicely there, as, again, Mannion's still staying on the field this time, as, again, they're from the 26. Triton got into the red zone, but back-to-back losses on the play, including a huge loss wrapped up by Arelis on the defense. Oh, that ball is snapped, and it's botched. So coming in to save it, it's kind of a turnover either way, because it would have been a turnover on a fumble by John Pettigrew, but instead it's a turnover on downs. Still not great field position, but if I think about it, if Triton doesn't get any, that's one of those weird situations there where when we talk about that field position, it's not really close enough for a high school kicker, for an average high school kicker to make it. So when we talk about those, you can't really punt from the 25-yard line, but if you do, you're probably giving up a touchback. So they're really only 10 yards up from it being a touchback. So it's kind of a neutral situation, if you ask me, if you're ACIT.
And I don't blame Triton at all for going that. I mean, that's a long field goal to begin with, let alone we don't even know if they have an official kicker.
Right. That's the thing about high school football, is that place kicking is basically a dead form, more or less. They send a man in motion. It is Stevenson, and he'll go out to the left side, basically for no gain on the jet sweep that time. Second down and long. They're actually going to lose a yard that time.
Yeah, no, I mean, just unfortunate. I mean, we've seen it twice now for Triton on that O-line. Obviously, some miscommunication, and, that could be, Mannion, third start in, or that could just be miscommunication on, coaches, whatever. We won't know. However, just some snap counts, some difficulty, getting that to Mannion, and you got to let him go to work, and you can't do that unless you're putting the ball in his hands.
Two receivers to the left for to the right, facing us for ACIT this time. Stevenson being one of them. He might look for Stevenson. Gaetano, downfield, almost picked off by Jalen Morris, as he basically had that ball right in his hands, but he just missed it, as that would have been a great turnover, but instead Jalen Morris can't come up with it that time. No, I'm not blaming you. You did not almost have an interception, but it'll be 3rd and 11 this time.
And Gaetano, I mean, that's just not really – I mean, I'm not exactly sure who he's looking for in that.
I think he might have been looking for Stevenson, but he might have just angled that throw too low.
Yeah, right, and that's where it becomes dangerous, because you're trying to fit that in a tight gap, and, if you miss the throw like he did, it's probably a pick. And, fortunately for them this time it wasn't, but dangerous, especially down their own territory for the RedHawks.
Again, from the upper level of the John Oakes Stadium press box, Triton with a lot of football history around here, and now a pass to the flat. Oh, and it's incomplete. They want Triton to pick up the ball, but the whistle was dead. It was a forward pass. It was barely a forward pass, but it was one. The intended receiver was, again, Pagan. ACIT really liking to hit those flats, but in this case, not really coming up with much. It's going to be 4th and 11, and for the third time now, Gaetano will come back on the field to punt. And, I mean, again, we're seeing a very low-scoring affair here. We've only seen one game in DWB history to have a scoreless first half. And the only reason why I say that is because this game doesn't really seem to have a lot of momentum right now. Neither team is really getting ahead, and it could just be a battle of who scores first and who's able to put the team's momentum on their back. Here's Gaetano. That kick almost got blocked by Braden Lewis, and that was hit way out to the left side. It's going to go out right around the 45. I think it landed at midfield, but it also landed in the first row of the bleachers. So we'll see Triton take over for their third drive of the evening here from John Oakes Stadium. This broadcast is brought to you by our good friends over at DAWG Pro Wrestling. The Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators are New Jersey's premier pro wrestling organization with high-flying events and nonstop entertainment throughout the Garden State. Along with that, it's also brought to you by Gray Fox Sports, South Jersey's premier professional photographer for sports. Book him for your future events at grayfoxsports.net.
Now, Dan, would you rather it be 0-0, you know, almost halfway through the second quarter, or would you rather it be like the Gloucester Catholic game, which I was
No,
on
I would
with you
much
next?
rather it be a scoreless game.
Yeah, I mean, last time we saw that. However, you know, Triton, I think this is a big drive for them.
Well, they're going to make a big play out of it as he's got 4 or 5 ACIT defenders on him. Pettigrew again with a big rush to start this drive. He'll get a stick mover that time. He's going to get all the way up to around the 22-yard line. And Pettigrew, who had a big gain on the first play of the second drive, now has a big play on the first play of the third drive. RedHawks burn their first timeout. We'll take a quick break as it's 10:50 left in quarter number 2. Neither team has sniffed the end zone yet, and only one team has gotten to the red zone. That's been the Mustangs. We'll be back in just a moment. Here from John Oak Stadium in Triton, ACIT burned their first timeout, and we now see Triton lining up at the 22-yard line. Got a big gain from John Pettigrew, a 23-yard gain for the first down on the cusp of the red zone. Morris as a wide receiver deep on the left side. Now here comes a rush out to the left. Here's Pettigrew, gets wrapped up at the 5. As ACIT defenders came in from all directions, they weren't able to stop him. They do stop the clock here.
On the outside.
Got a man down. Got hit hard.
Another Mustang first down.
And here
It's gonna
comes,
be first
you know,
and
this
goal.
is where ACIT is going to unfortunately, you know, lose out a little bit. Here comes this home crowd for Triton, right? The Runnymede faithful. I mean, this student section over here has been elite. Even as a Highland guy, I think I'm able to say that. But they've been excellent over there so far. But, you know, the sideline, they're fired up. And obviously this is going to slow things down a little bit because you never, ever want to see this.
No, they're attending to him on the sideline. I will say, I guess it must be construction gear night because a lot of students are wearing construction vests.
Neon, I believe.
Just a neon theme?
Yeah, I
we
believe
didn't
it's
have
neon.
those in high school. We didn't really have those, but yeah, some folks having some fun out there on a Thursday night with the blue face paint. But yeah, I was going to say it's either construction night or it's neon night. Sponsored by PSE&G, I guess. But
That's a first, Dan. I don't think I've ever heard of construction night.
yeah, no, that shows how out of touch I was in high school. I never really went to. For those at home, I'm an Audubon grad. I never really went to the. The funny thing is, if I went to an Audubon football game, I was either working in the press box or I would sit with the parents because I didn't want to be with the other kids because I wanted to watch the game. And I remember there was one time where I was watching an Audubon game. They were getting their shoes knocked off. It was like 40-0, and all the kids were leaving, and they're like, you know, Dan, why are you staying? And I'm like, well, because it's a football game. You never know what's going to happen. And then, yeah.
So wait, you're telling me there was no construction night at Audubon?
There was no construction night at all. There was construction in Audubon, but that was unrelated. There's always construction in Audubon.
I'm gonna hold you to that. I think construction night.
Well, for those that are at home, you might want to watch this broadcast to get ideas for your student section. Everybody just shows up with like hard hats on.
There you go. Sponsored by DWB.
Turning back onto the field, though, that is Brahim Knight that is down for ACIT, getting attention from the ACIT and Triton staff.
And that's a shame. I mean, we talked about
Because Knight has been a really big offensive contributor for ACIT in his first half.
and both. I mean, offensive and defensive. I mean, we saw him score the touchdown last year on DWB, and you know he's another guy that, you know, ACIT they're not overflowing with players, right? Second year program. So anytime anyone goes down, you know, in any program, let alone a program that is smaller and on the come up here, you know, this is never what you want to see. And he's been down for quite a while, Dan.
Yeah, ACIT's got about 30 players on the roster, and especially for a Group 5, it's somebody where it's a situation where, you know, when one huge contributor goes down, you need to find somebody to fill in that space. But with the Triton and ACIT medical staff on hand, the training staff assisting, we're going to take a quick break. There's 10:40 left. ACIT had just called a timeout, and then John Pettigrew got the rush up to the 3-yard line. So we'll take a quick break. No score as Triton's close to the end zone, but right now the attention is to that injured player for the RedHawks. Well, while we were on break, there was a round of applause for Knight, who he was up and then he went back down. And again, just there is the, I believe it's, they're not, they were on site earlier, but I haven't seen them. I don't know if they're going to, if he needs, I hope he doesn't need an ambulance, but if they do, I saw, I believe it was Runnymede EMS. I don't know which town services Runnymede for paramedics, but they do seem to be able to get him up and off the field, and that is great news for Raheem Knight. It's great news for this crowd as they applaud him. He's walking off on his own power. I mean, I don't like to speculate on what things could be, so we'll just leave it at that. It could have been something serious, could have been something where, you know, you get the wind knocked out of you, but again, either way, getting that medical assistance from both ACIT and Triton staffs. We see him getting off the field and would imagine that ACIT will need to fill in the gaps for at least a little bit of time while he recovers, as a lengthy injury delay brings us back to action with 10:40 left in the second quarter. No score, but Triton is on the doorstep of the end zone. John Pettigrew has been their big impact rusher so far.
Little wildcat here again, Dan.
Here's Morris again. Handoff. And who's got it? I couldn't tell.
It was Menk, I believe.
Yeah, Menk looked like he had the carry, but it also looked like that the ball maybe came out at some point just because of how delayed that reaction was. It's a loss of 1, and they're back to 2nd and 4 now.
And you're kind of working Menk and Morris and Pettigrew, as we talked about, in and out. I mean, we haven't seen Morris rush the ball a ton, except, you know, when it's been that wildcat formation. We just saw it there as you know, Jake Mannion has been checked in, so just kind of a almost head games, for against ACIT here, just trying to adjust to, you know, a bunch of the guys on this field that can get it done, and it looks like they're going to do it again with Morris.
Morris will again line up under center. 2 backs behind him. Hand off. Pettigrew. Pettigrew is into the end zone. Touchdown, Mustangs. It's the first of the night for Triton. Just like last year, they struck first. And the Mustangs get 4 yards into the end zone for their first of the day, as John Pettigrew, who's been the impact rusher all night, brought this crowd to its feet, brought the press box shaking a little bit as 2 minutes and 26 seconds into the second quarter. We find ourselves in a 6-0 game as Lewis will be on the kick. I believe Morris is holding, and we have movement. Pretty much 2 or 3 guys, including Stevenson, on the D-line. Jump that time. It's offside on the RedHawks. Question is, with the ball being moved up, do you try to go for 2 here?
That must have been some kind of snap count, because they literally had half the defense moving on that play.
Yeah. And rarely do you see a kind of hard count on a PAT. But what's even more surprising is that if you do a snap count, why don't you go for 2? It's a high snap. Lewis is up. They will settle for one, and the kick is good. And 2 minutes into the second quarter, it's the RedHawks 0, Mustangs 7. We'll stay on the air as what a good drive from Triton that time. It just seemed like a back-and-forth jockey. Let's take a look at the replay that time. Presented by Harper Driving School of this touchdown. Probably could have grabbed the replay of one of Pettigrew's other runs because this one was just a cherry on top. You see just a simple handoff here from Morris, gets it off to the right side, and into the end zone. He went 4 yards in for Pettigrew. As he picks up the score, he was the impact player for pretty much most of Triton's offense all night. He had picked up 3 rushes of 20 yards or more. So that one wasn't even the biggest play that he had. It was just the one that counted for the most points.
Right, and we talked about Mannion being so excellent so early on in his varsity career as a quarterback, and quite frankly, they haven't been able to showcase him yet, and they're up 7-0 on a good ACIT team. So, it'll be interesting to see how they use him down the line as, Jalen Morris has been in that Wildcat, a ton, and it's been Pettigrew who's been carrying it so far.
Stevenson and Nixon Matos back to receive. With Lewis on the kick, he got the PAT earlier. Oh, that is muffed. Is he going to try to recover it on his own side? I think he got it. It was enough for 10 yards, and Triton shocks the world with a onside kick in the second quarter. The kicker kicked it to himself. Say that 5 times fast as Triton capes the ball, and they are in opponent territory already at the 48-yard line, and that is where they started their last drive.
Right, and that's excellent from Braden Lewis. I mean, to have the knowledge to do that, you see ACIT is off guard, and to just, kind of after, knocking through the PAT, had 2 solid kickoffs to start the game, and then to just do that, like, he caught that special teams team absolutely sleeping, and that's
caught me off guard, too.
Right. Everyone.
I mean, they had a squib kick earlier to open up the game, but they at least brought it to the opposing 30. Here's Mannion starting off drive number 2. This one is deep. Up! And did he bring that one down? Yes, he did. The referees are conferring. They say yes. The player who received that is down, as I believe that was Mank on the catch. Jake Mannion throws a dime to the 25. That was Morris who received the catch. However, though, he appears to be injured as it's a huge play, but at the sacrifice of Jalen Morris, who, I mean, he's off the field far enough to where they're saying that they should be able to continue.
But, I mean, Jalen Morris, we talked about it earlier, he's kind of your do-it-all guy for the Mustangs, and if he goes down here, this would be.
Well, he is down. That's the problem. The question is, I mean, he was far enough off the field where we've seen situations before where they'll just continue business as normal if the player that's injured is off the field. But this is a little bit of confusion here because I don't know if an injury timeout is happening or if they're charging a standard timeout to Triton. Let's see here. Referees are conferring. The head ref whistled. Oh, what they're doing is they're kind of scooching Morris far enough off so that he can get treatment while play resumes. So it will be a brief injury timeout, but that's still a big loss for Jalen Morris, who, again, kind of at his own sacrifice, picked up a huge gain. Unfortunately, though, he is still down on the sideline receiving that help. Play will resume with Triton in the I form at the 24-yard line. Handoff. Oh, wow, look at Jake Mannion coming in with a huge hit that time. Couldn't even tell who had the ball. That was a very slowly developed play. It looked like maybe got a yard or 2 that time.
Yeah, a little trickery going on for Triton, and that's what it's got to be. I mean, this offense isn't going to overpower anyone, right? Jalen Morris is obviously your playmaker, and, they do trick stuff with him in the Wildcat, and now he's out. So we're not sure the status of him, but, you're going to have to get creative if you're Triton here, especially, as the second quarter winds down.
Well, Triton can't exactly see Morris. Looks like he is getting up on the sideline. Mannion, handoff. It's Pettigrew. Pettigrew blocks a couple guys. He spins. He fires. He's in the end zone. Touchdown, Mustangs. That's back-to-back. The onside kick pays off big time. as Pettigrew is the pedigree of this offense. Back-to-back scores, and the Mustangs are up two scores here in their third home game of the year, still looking for their first home win as the Mustangs pick up a good score that time, 22 yards to the house by John Pettigrew. Broke a couple of tackles that time, and he picks up his second rushing score.
And Pettigrew, I mean, he was the third guy in this running back room coming in the day behind, Jalen Morris, who's obviously out, but Jaden Menk as well, and he's been taking the heavy count of it, and he's been, cashing in on the opportunity as we have some whistles for the kick.
The kick went up and through, but it looks like this is going to be another offsides on Atlantic Tech. Second PAT to get a whistle on it.
They whistled it before it ended, but they're asking if they want to decline, so I think they're going to make them do it here again.
Yeah, they'll just, again, in that situation, it's half the distance, so this is going to be snapped and held at the 10. We've got more whistles. This is just kicking practice at this point.
He's 2 for 2, though.
He's 2 for 2. Do we have more offsides? It's another offsides call on the RedHawks, but this time the penalty's declined, which means that they're going to attempt it again. At this point, well, they're not even moving the ball. That's the spot is not moved. Oh no!
Oh, I think he got it still though. Oh
no! Oh no! Wow, that's a tough break for Triton. They made the first two.
Oh man.
Man, that's a tough call because they made the first two, and they were both called back for flags. And then he attempted it a third time, and he couldn't get to the crossbar. So, that's a tough draw that time for Braden Lewis and Triton. It is a 13-0 game here with 8 minutes, 23 seconds in the second quarter. I just got a feel from that time. I mean, you kick it twice, doesn't count, and then the third time doesn't go. That's a big heartbreaker, especially if this game comes down to an extra point like other games this year have.
Right, and he's sitting there and he's like, you couldn't just been off sides one more time. Just let me do it again. I mean, that really is unfortunate for Lewis, but Triton nonetheless up 13. I mean, they're up 2 scores now on ACIT. It's obviously cooled off on that far sideline. Early on the game, every single tackle we were getting, those guys over there they were fired up, and now I think they've cooled off a little bit, and Triton, just kind of taking a little bit of domination at home so far. We'll see if they can extend that and, turn this into more of a blowout as we get closer to halftime. But ACIT will have the response, so we'll see what they can do as another squib.
ACIT undefeated this year as a botch on the kick return. It's going to be up to the 43 as that return was made by number 22 on the play, which was Landon Petticord. And ACIT, even after fumbling that kickoff return, was able to make good use of it and good recovery. Don't forget, this weekend on DWB, we've got 2 more football games coming your way. One from Gloucester County and the other from Camden County, as we have the Delsea Crusaders and the Kingsway Dragons on the 322 corridor from Woolwich Township. 6 o'clock kickoff tomorrow night. And then Saturday at 11 a.m., we have the Woodstown Wolverines and the Woodbury Thundering Herd at 11 a.m. Colin's going to be on the call again for that one. In our first of 4 games with Woodbury this year, we've got all of their home games, including versus state champion Glassboro, 1 week from Saturday on the 27th. Rush to the left side. Gaetano taken out of bounds. We've got a flag down. Interesting that. Go ahead.
That one seemed like a little more ideal spot for a flag, as we talked about earlier. That other flag that went against Triton, the offensive hold. It was ACIT on the offensive hold earlier. That one came from the end zone, so that one right on the play. Just wanted to throw that in there.
It is an illegal block in the back. Interesting that they're calling it twice, but one thing that I thought was interesting is the marching band allowed to play when the when the road team's on offense? I didn't know that.
They are, and it must be kind of a Black Horse Pike thing because, I believe they call it the Ped band. They kind of just perform during the game. It's a little bit different, between.
It's a little bit different than a traditional
Highland and Timber Creek and Triton. I believe they all do it. I'm not sure about Timber Creek, but I know Highland and Triton for sure.
It might be a team-by-team thing because I've seen some teams that only play when their team is on offense, but I've seen that's the first one I've seen this year where they play kind of whenever. Didn't know you could do that. Handoff, left side. Gets tripped up. Nixon Matos on the carry that time. After the 5-yard loss, actually, no, the 10-yard loss, they're going to get back to where they started at the 42. So it looks like it might be 2nd and 11 or 12. Still in Red Hawk territory. A beautiful night here in Runnymede, 76 degrees, mostly sunny. The last of the great weekends. If we come back here in late October and it's 40 degrees and I've got 5 layers on, that's going to be different, but we can still enjoy the last good weather days that we have on record. As it's 2nd and 12, or rather, yeah, 2nd and 12 from the 42. Handoff. Going to get right back to the line of scrimmage. Look out. Nixon Matos' helmet comes off, and so does the football, but seems like no flags on the play. They're going to spot this with 10 yards to the first at the 44. Again, ACIT just needs a little bit of momentum here. I think they were definitely shaken up by that onside kick going Triton's way. I mean, it's one thing if you can't recover an onside kick, but it's another thing if their own kicker returns the onside. So that was a big gut punch for the RedHawks, and now they find themselves, again, a little bit exasperated here. It's 3rd and 9. They need a little bit of push to get them going because they won this game last year. They're 2-0 to start the season. They don't want to see that momentum, especially top 8 in Group 5 right now. They do not want to see that slip. Left side, Gaetano hit below the waist. They drop the pylon, but he's short by about 3 yards at the 50 at midfield. First down marker was at the opposing 47. Question is here, Colin, we've got a half of a quarter left in the first half. It's going to be fourth and 5. It's going to be 4th and 5. I thought they had a little bit more forward progress than that.
Agreed.
Surprised they're bringing out the punt team here down 2 scores. I thought maybe they'd gamble for it a little bit more, but it's back Morris to return, Gaetano to punt from the 48. Gaetano with a low hanging punt. This is going to roll. Who's going to touch it? It's going to be picked up by the Mustangs and by Petticord. And honestly, really good pin that time, getting them inside the 15 with 5:46 to play in the second quarter. We'll have action in JUCO women's soccer, the nationally ranked RCSJ Roadrunners. They are number 3 in the nation in last week's poll. They face off against a fellow Garden State Athletic Conference rival from up north between the Union Owls and the RCSJ Roadrunners at 4 o'clock on Wednesday, September 24th on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting. I'm Dan Wilkins, joined by Colin Morris in the booth today, and David Cohen on the production on this Thursday night. Beautiful Thursday night from the Black Horse Pike School District and from Triton. They'll get about 4 yards that time, getting them outside of the 20. That's definitely a big gain for the Mustangs, as they'll line this one up at the 22-yard line. It's a gain of 6 on the play.
John Pettigrew picking up 6 on the run.
Pettigrew again had the rush. Really like what he's all about today. Definitely an early contender for player of the game honors. Obviously don't want to talk about that too early just in case ACIT comes back and makes a big deal out of it. But again, I'm a little bit of a believer because we had 2 comebacks last week that saw some pretty interesting fireworks, as another handoff doesn't get too far. Actually got closer to the first down marker than I thought. They're going to get about 4 yards on it. It'll be 3rd and short. Referees are signaling 3rd down. But last week we saw Overbrook in Pennsville. Pennsville was up 21-0 in that game in the first quarter. It was 21-8 at the end of the first. And then Overbrook came back, and because of a 2-point conversion, they won that game 22-21, sending Pennsville to 0-3 on the season.
Seemed like a little bit of a fullback set there on 2nd down for Triton. I wouldn't be surprised to see something similar here on 3rd and short. I mean, they're not going to want to mess around here.
No, they just need 1 yard. He's going to barrel it through himself, and Mannion will get the first down. In fact, he's going to get the first down by about 2 yards. 2 yards of surplus that time, and they will move the sticks. Again, making the best of a bad situation. Gaetano had a great punt. That was I believe his 3rd punt of the game. trapped Triton inside the 15. It wasn't a high punt, it wasn't a very long punt, but he got that spin to roll, got them inside the 15, got them inside the 20 rather, and now a first down for the Mustangs with Pettigrew and Mannion combining on those rushes, and they now get a new set of downs from their own 26, which again, it's not great, but up by 2 scores, wind down the clock a little bit. Hold on, we got whistles here. Triton was sending a man in motion, and they do call a false start on the Mustangs. That will send them back 5 yards. So it'll be first and 15.
We've got Durante repping on the track, doing our Triton cheer.
First and 15. They're spotted at the 21-yard line. So after the false start, 3:21 and counting in the second quarter. Handoff right side, left side. Pettigrew trips up, takes his own man down with him, and he'll get about 5 yards on the play. I'll tell you what, that was offensive tackle number 55, Hayden Miller.
Back up there. It is second down for the Mustangs.
And tackle number 1 for Pettigrew tonight as well. So, on his own man. But, yeah, Triton looking to get something going here with a second and long. Obviously, they're in kind of that territory where if they can get a good long drive going here, I mean, we're just under 3 minutes, so they don't exactly have all the time in the world, but if they can get something going here and get in the end zone or even get a score before halftime, we would be looking, you know, kind of towards blowout territory. So a big drive for the RedHawks as well.
I formation that time. Couple of good blocks on the offensive tackling side. Here comes John Pettigrew. Oh, my goodness. He barrels his way to midfield. The crowd gives him the proper recognition. And John Pettigrew, oh, my goodness. What a strong man showing by number 1. He wears that jersey on his back for a reason, as the Mustangs have been putting Pettigrew. He finds himself with another first down, and Triton has completely changed the motif of this drive entirely. With 2 minutes left in the half, they're now at midfield.
I mean, Pettigrew, as you mentioned earlier, kind of making that player of the game, you know.
He's making a case for himself, that's for sure.
Right, absolutely, and that's just showing off the strength a little bit. I mean, that's one of those moments where, you know, he just ran through like 7 or 8 guys.
Left side. One hand. Jalen Morris in the same spot where he got hurt in the last drive stays unscathed. And Jalen Morris reels it in with his right hand and gets another 30 yards on the play with Jake Mannion controlling the offense. And it looks like that Triton is now just a couple of good plays away from getting a 3-score lead at halftime.
And this is what we talked about is Mannion is now showing it off, right? They let Pettigrew do the hard work early on, and now he's starting to air it out a little bit. He's using those weapons. I mean, this is just a really, really strong drive from the Mustangs right now, and Mannion has been absolutely excellent the whole way.
A minute and 37 seconds after the completion for 29 yards by the senior Jalen Morris, as Mannion handoff to Pettigrew. He leaps and he gets himself another 11 yards as he gets himself hurtling over the ACIT defenders as a timeout is called. It is the RedHawks' second of the day. They take a break, and so do we, as Triton on the doorstep of a third score prior to halftime. They've scored more in this first half than they did all of their matchup versus the RedHawks last year, 13-0. We'll be right back. Look at this play by Jalen Morris, a 29-yard gain. We've talked about him all night, but in the I form here for Triton as they get back into the formation this time. I mean, just looking at this play, he didn't take any time to pass at all. Found a man downfield and then one-handed brings it in. Right in time for the snap. Mannion throws left side, right side, touchdown. Their third. As Braden Lewis, the place kicker, comes in that time as a 11-yard touchdown pass. Once again set up by John Pettigrew, but finished by the combination of Mannion and Lewis. Gives Triton a 19-0 lead here in quarter number 2. Very different ball game from what we saw last year.
And Braden Lewis making up for that PAT after those bunch of offsides by the defense, missing that one. That's the reason why it's 19-0. However, Triton, just an incredibly strong drive, and Mannion just showing it off, all
they're going to go
drive
for 2.
and getting it done.
Not surprised they're going to go for 2 here after kind of unusually missing the first PAT. They send a man in motion out to the right side. Mannion looks over the middle. We know we have a penalty flag on the play. The pass was complete, but the referee on the near side is saying illegal man downfield. That's what I saw from the ref on the near sideline. I wonder if that was on number 6, which would be Chika Okuburi, who, again, was the man in motion. It looked like maybe they had him lined up for it. So, again, with the illegal man downfield, they'll get to do it again. I don't know how many. I think
Looks like it was an illegal man downfield.
I think 5 yards for an illegal man downfield. I don't know. We haven't seen that called too much this year. But they are keeping the offense on the field. I feel like they're playing a very safe situation here where they really don't want to risk that extra point being open. If they make that 21-0, then they'll force ACIT to at least get 1 2-pointer to take the lead if they come back in this one. But again, very defensive thinking here from the Mustangs as they'll line it up back from their 5-yard line, maybe the 7-yard line. Here's Mannion again, running the same play. This one is, did he bring that one in? No, he did not. In the back corner of the end zone. Pass was almost brought in by by Morris, and the 2-point conversion is incomplete. Minute 26 left in quarter number 2. We'll stay here as it is 19-0 Triton over the RedHawks.
And nonetheless, an excellent catch by Jalen Morris, kind of on that out of bounds. I believe it's just he came down with those elbows out of bounds on the white line. He was close. Mannion, not the greatest of throws that he would have wanted on that kind of play, but nearly cashed in. And ACIT catches a break, especially, as you mentioned, if down the line we could see a comeback here in the second half.
Yeah, we talked about it last year. It was Haddonfield-Woodbury, a game that ended final score 21-20, where Woodbury was up, Haddonfield came back, they scored, and Woodbury had a PAT blocked. Haddonfield made all 3, and the final score was 21-20 in that game. So, yeah, extra points matter, especially in a football environment in South Jersey where that can definitely be put up to scrutiny. As we come back here with a minute 26 left in quarter number 2, here from very beautiful Runnymede tonight. Nice little gust of wind, open air up here in the press box. Is this one, or up here above the press box? This one is returned to the 10-yard line. ACIT was signaling where he wanted to go. He's now going to get all the way up to the 40. He has not stepped out of bounds except for now. I believe they're going to say he stepped out short of midfield as a great return that time by Pagan, who is very lucky to come. No, that wasn't Pagan who was out. That was
and the RedHawks
Brahim Knight,
4, Anthony
who had that extended injury break. So my apologies, but he does get a great return.
Up to the 45.
Up to the 45, and now this is the old classic less than 2-minute drill because you've got a minute 15. Gaetano can slug the ball downfield. He's got just over 100 passing yards this season. Has only thrown for 1 TD, 1 interception. Now comes into the 3rd game for the RedHawks this year, looking to make another impact.
And Anthony Gaetano, let's talk about last year real quick. He was absolutely excellent. He threw for, 200. He threw for over, 120 passing yards, but had almost 200 had almost 200 yards of scrimmage and, you know, a touchdown throwing and a touchdown rushing. So quite frankly, he balled here last time he was in Runnymede. And you know, I think obviously had not been the same thing happening tonight, but, you know, still plenty of game left. They're only down by 19, so a score here and a score after halftime. They do get the ball, so, you know, it'll be huge for the RedHawks to see what they can do. This offense has got to get going if they want any shot of increasing the 3-0.
Ortiz was the intended receiver that time, as it is 2nd and 10 from ACIT's own 45. 2 safeties up for the Mustangs. 2 receivers on each side. They tried to go to Ortiz on the curl. He was about 5 yards ahead of the line of scrimmage. The pass is incomplete. Again, Gaetano and the RedHawks kind of forced to go to the air that time with the discrepancies on offense. If you're just joining us, it's 19-0 Mustangs over the RedHawks. Scoreless first quarter has seen 19 unanswered points in the second. Hold on here, whistles, and a timeout. The RedHawks use their second. So with each team having 2, RedHawks now have 1 remaining. We'll take a quick break. 1:08 left in the second quarter. It's 19 for Triton, 0 for ACIT. We'll be right back. (19-0) Triton in front here from John Oak Stadium as the RedHawks burned their second timeout. Gaetano will go deep downfield. Ooh, a little bit of touching that time. A little bit. Not sure what to make of that one, as the pass down the left side is incomplete. 3 straight against the RedHawks, and it's 4th down.
I mean, ACIT just nothing doing here, and honestly, if I'm Triton, if I'm on the special teams, you know, control of that, I'm setting the house. Absolutely. I mean, 1:03 to go. If you can get a block here, or just get a hand on it or something, get some kind of good field position. I mean, I don't doubt that they can do that anyway with, you know, Lewis and Jalen Morris back there. But, you know, if I'm Triton, I'm sending as many people as I can here.
Gaetano is back to punt. This is his 4th punt of the game. A little bit of shove there on the kick return. They're going to keep this one in bounds, and it will stop at the 20-yard line. So Triton will now have 52 seconds to get something going here.
And I think they did the exact opposite of what I said. I think they sent one person. So obviously not what they were going for there, but I mean, honestly, I don't disagree with it, just for the mere fact that this Triton offense has been overpowering the entire night. I would absolutely trust Jake Mannion to, you know, throw out some deep balls to Jalen Morris, Noah Calumet, or whoever is open down there. I mean, like I said earlier, he's got weapons, including, you know, John Pettigrew and you know, Jaden Mank, and, you know, this running back room this rushing game has been excellent tonight, obviously. But, you know, under 1 minute drill here from Mannion, I mean,
it's not going to be easy. We'll just say that.
Right.
Much.
They have 2 timeouts, but I wouldn't doubt it. They're just going to try to get some points on the board here before halftime. Make it a.
Wouldn't be surprised if John Pettigrew gets one of these plays.
Right.
Mannion, keeper, runs right into the offensive line, and now the clock stops with 45.4 seconds left, and it looks like Triton does take one of their timeouts, and it is. So they have they have 1 remaining now. Not surprised that they took a timeout there just to try to, again, kind of alleviate the situation a little bit. He ran into the offensive line, didn't get too far. Again, don't forget we have the DWB halftime program.
And it's a timeout, Triton.
With DWB Archives, where we show you the best of the best from the last 4 years of Dan Wilkins Broadcasting.
And we'll take this minute to give a quick shout out to our cheerleaders and their coaching staff.
And then
We've
after
got
that,
Miss
with about
Alyssa Parisi,
5 minutes left in the
Miss
halftime
Amanda
break, we'll come back
Parisi,
for our DWB
Miss
halftime show
Kay
presented by
and
Gray Fox
Mrs.
Sports.
Kayla Harrell.
And then we'll have 24 more minutes of Memorial Division football on the way, on the dock for you. Again, first of 3. Every weekend this year is a DWB triple header, with more schools kind of being forced to schedule games on Thursdays. Dropping back. This one is deep. Right side. Oh, couldn't get there. Tried to go for gold on the reception that time, but double coverage and just a little bit too much mustard on the ball. Incomplete.
Incomplete. Third down for the Mustangs.
That was intended for number 14. Noah Kalame. 3rd and 10.
And a big chance for ACIT. I mean, they have one timeout left, so another stoppage here. I mean, 3rd and long. You know, obviously the Triton punting game has been quite the question mark so far, so we'll see what happens here. But ACIT, you know, maybe some pressure or maybe dropping back, just making sure there's no big plays. I think that's the number one thing they got to get done. But if they're able to get a stop here, a timeout leaves them about 40 seconds. They're probably not going to have to go more than half the field, you know, deciding on a punt.
3rd and 10. Pass incomplete, big hit as Nixon Mato stands on business, and the intended receiver was Kyle Pryor. And it'll be 4th and 10. So 3 straight incompletions. Well, there was 2 incompletions, and before that was a QB keeper by Mannion that ended up falling short, ended up going back to the line of scrimmage, running into his O-line. And they didn't use too much time either. Both of these teams have had a lot of drives.
Right.
Triton just had their 5th drive of the night, and the RedHawks are going to have about 30 seconds for their 5th drive of the night. So for the first half, not a lot of scoring. We've seen a lot of punting on both sides. This one's up. This will be returned. No fair catch that time. Maybe he should have. Oh, my goodness, he's still on his feet. He got ragdolled. He's still on his feet. How far will they let this one go back? That was I think that was a bad decision there. I think they should have fair caught it because they would have been at the 40-45. Instead, they lose at least 10 yards. And with 23 seconds left, the RedHawks will be in a tough position, still looking for their first points of the half.
And we know Gaetano can, you know, air it out, right? Anthony Gaetano has, you know, one of the better arms that we've seen, and we know he's going to try to get it to his guys here. You're on the 45-yard line at one timeout. That's going to give you a much better chance of being on the, I mean, I'm not sure what this is marked, the 30.
Well,
34,
you have to consider at least a little bit of forward progress, and I think they
Right.
did. He would have been back at the 30 if they didn't. But
Right.
still, you would have gotten 10 more yards if it was fair caught. Now, obviously, hindsight's 20/20 in this situation, but we've got the first half almost coming to a close. It is caught on the flat. Looked like a screen that time. Up to about the 42. Pass was made to Nasir Macon. ACIT has 1 timeout remaining. They opt to use it with 13.6 on the board. We'll stay here.
And I'd assume they would probably have about one more shot before halftime here, especially if they stay in bounds. Could be one more play. They might get 2. Maybe just 2 deep balls, see what they can make of it. But barring a big play here, Triton's going to go into their locker room feeling good about the first half, Dan.
I'll tell you, this is interesting for us because just in terms of the WJFL divisional alignments, I think what's interesting is somebody who comes from Audubon and has seen who they end up playing, is that a lot of the programs who they would play are programs that usually don't get a lot of head-to-head matchups like this. Like ACIT in any other sport is in the Cape Atlantic League, and then Triton being in Tri-County, they clash sometimes, but I don't recall any other sport where I've seen these 2 teams play each other. So even though I do have my pros and cons with the concept of a super conference, I do think that it's a good thing that we're seeing these programs up against unfamiliar opponents because if you know, I went to Audubon. I saw Audubon versus Gloucester a million times. Audubon versus Haddon Heights, West Deptford, Collingswood. These are 2 teams that don't really see each other a lot, and it's really interesting to see that come to light. They do pass to the right side for Stevenson. He finds some space up the middle, but they don't have any timeouts. So they're just going to run out of what time was called. They need time to spot the ball, I think, and then after that the clock will run. They're going to try to get something off in time. They've got half a second, not going to get it. They ran against the clock, unable to get a second play off, but Stevenson really should have rushed towards the sideline because that would have stopped the clock. They had it stopped with 4 seconds, but that was only to spot the ball. And at the end of the first half, the Mustangs are up 3 scores. It's Triton 19, ACIT 0 at the halftime break. We'll take a quick break. We've got DWB Archives on the way, and then 24 more minutes of Memorial Division football here on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting. We'll be right back.
May is Mental Health Awareness Month. It is the responsibility of all of us to make sure that our friends, family, and anybody who we hold dear in our lives is feeling well. The problem with spotting mental health issues is that the symptoms aren't that obvious. Just because someone is okay or appears okay on the outside doesn't mean that they're okay on the inside. It's important that if they are in distress, that they call the right people and they get the help that they need. And it is very important that we treat each other with respect, regardless of who you are or where you come from. But it is just as important that we treat ourselves with respect, regardless of the situation going on in our lives. If you're in distress, you can call this number, 988, or you can visit any of these websites if you're not in distress, but would like to learn more information about mental health awareness and research. In life, the road ahead is full of possibilities, but to navigate it safely, you need the right skills. Harper Driving School is the premier driving school serving Gloucester, Salem, and Camden counties. With experienced instructors, many of whom are teachers in local schools, we are dedicated to your success and will help you master the road with confidence. With an over 95% success rate of students passing their road test on their first try, you know your student will be in good hands while embarking on a huge step of their young adult lives, all while avoiding the lines at the DMV and getting insurance discounts.
We chose Harper, and so should you.
And Argabright with a full count. Outfielders in communication for the Quakers. Everyone's looking around in a tie game, bottom of the 6th. The 3-2 payoff. Ground ball. It's going to get over the head of Tolbert into left field. That's a base hit. 2-run score. Argabright delivers when asked. 5-3. Alex Argabright has given the Golden Eagles a 5-3 lead in the bottom of the 6th inning.
Literally, they've been here twice, and they're about to score, or on the doorstep of scoring 50 for the 2nd game in a row. Xavier Terry Brown. He is still on his feet. He's being shoved forward into the end zone. But who's got the ball? Look at Jason Solomon. The ball magically appeared in Woodbury's hands, and now they're back at the 50. This one's going back. This one's going to go to the distance. I don't see any flags. Did that just go for 100 yards? I think it did. I do not see any flags as Woodbury. Oh my goodness, Jason Solomon, have a day. He is the first man not named Taylor to score. Wow, that was good.
Doubleheader reached first on an error in the first at-bat of Game 2. This one's lined into center field. Slider going over. He dives. Did he make the catch? Yes, he did. Ryan Slider makes the catch. Not on a slide, but instead on a dive. 2 away.
It will be inbounded by Pat Monahan. Oh, the ball gets away. Who's going to have it? GCIT will hang on to the possession. It goes to Stanwood. Stanwood inside. They'll get the shot off. It's good! Unbelievable! Boston calls the timeout, but will they get it? Unbelievable! Unbelievable!
contest shot from Hellman.
Wow.
Ryan James wanted the timeout, but did they get it in time?
BB and Copsetta trading a couple looks. They know what's going on. Full count. Bases loaded. 2 outs. Just like they drew it up in Hollywood. Caladros, the 3-2. Swing and a miss! And the Audubon Green Wave have upset the Kingsway Dragons in the Ralph Shaw Classic 26th annual. They are back on top for the first.
And it gets past everybody. Graham will go back to position with no goal scored. They'll count down the time out loud here. Out to the left. One final shot, and it gets through. How about a buzzer beater? How do you do? It's a lead extending goal for Justin Lewis. Ugly to end the day for Luke Pokrovsky. A little pop-up, first base side, he calls for it, and for the first time in 33 years, the Charlotte Cougars will hoist the trophy and face Middlesex on Monday. 4-3, Cougars win it. And in the battle of green and gold, the trophy stays true with the visitors. What a finish! And Shalleck will pack their bags for Middlesex and the Blue Jays when the weekend turns around to Monday. Second half ready to go here from John Oak Stadium in Runnymede. I'm Dan Wilkins, joined by Colin Morris. This evening, it's been an interesting first half. 19-0 is the score. Atlantic Tech won this game last year 14-7. This year is looking very much different, and we're seeing a Triton offense that seems very revengeful from last year's loss, and they find themselves looking to beat an unbeaten or a previously unbeaten ACIT program here in the second half.
Yeah, and for Triton, offensively, it's been John Pettigrew. I mean, Pettigrew, he has been absolutely dominant. We've seen him carry, 5, 6, 7, 8 guys, and he's just been excellent on the ground. And then that just opens up the pass game, right? I mean, Jake Mannion's been slinging it to Jalen Morris and Noah Calumet, and they've been all over the field. This Triton offense, we talked about it earlier. Mannion's been excellent. Obviously since the benching of Frankie Williams, he's kind of taken over. He's taken that role, into account and taken advantage of the opportunity. I think that's the best way to say it. And he's been using his weapons. Obviously, we had a little scare earlier for Triton fans and Mustang Nation. It was Jalen Morris going down, but he seems to be okay. He's checked back in. He's had a couple catches since, and for Triton, it's just going to be taking that momentum in the second half, because this would be a huge win at home for them.
Well, I'll say that there wasn't a lot of momentum early. I mean, all 19 points that we've seen tonight were scored in the second quarter. And where we are right now with the Mustangs is both teams have had injury scares on both sides. We saw Raheem Knight go down for the RedHawks. We saw Jalen Morris go down for the Mustangs. Again, extended injury breaks that really dig into a team's morale and dig into a team's momentum. But Triton has really not fared from that, and they have stayed on the beaten path, scoring, again, 19 points in the second quarter alone to get them in the situation where they are now. They find themselves up. They find themselves up again by 3 scores. And as we go into this third quarter, it's going to be a question of if ACIT can respond, because they were down in the half last year, came back to win. But the discrepancy, the asterisk there, is that they were only down 1 point at the halftime break last year. This time they're down by 19. There is a lot of work to do, but you're not at the running clock point yet. This is still a winnable game for ACIT, but what I think they should do is I think they should keep the ball on the ground more, and I think that they should not abandon but lessen the jet sweep that they've been using. They've been using that a lot, and it just really hasn't gotten the results that they've wanted, with Triton's D-line really holding up and taking care of this ACIT offensive line. If they pass the ball a little bit more, I think that as long as their receivers can bring the ball in, handle that ball control a little bit better, I think that they'll be okay. Their receivers just haven't been able to catch the ball consistently. And if they're able to change that, if they're able to change course with those, I think that they'll be fine. But they just got to get some points on the board first, because it's a stepping stone. You're down. You don't have any points on the board right now. If you're coach, if you're ACIT's coach, you come out of the locker room and you're like, all right, we don't have any points. How can we get points on the board? There's a lot of different ways to do it, and they will not have – Triton will have the ball to start the second half. So this will be an interesting phenomenon for quarter number 3.
Right, and for Dominic Tamio and his coaching staff, it's been a crafty offense. It's been a lot of trick plays. We've had Jalen Morris in that Wildcat, and, Mannion airing out the ball, and you got Pettigrew doing, reverses and all kinds of things for this Triton offense, and it's been working. Now, for ACIT, I think this is where they're going to need to dig deep, because obviously the passing game is not the key tonight. It hasn't been working, and that's not how they're getting points. But Triton, on the other hand, they've been doing an excellent job. ACIT, they got to kind of figure it out here. Obviously you said they're not in that running clock territory yet. However, they're getting to that point, and it's going to be big for their defense to step up here. I talked about it earlier before we even went on air, Dan, is how this defense brought back almost everyone. I mean, they had very little defensive graduates, so I mean, this is an experienced defensive team at this point, and I think ACIT's been getting exposed a little bit by this Triton offense, but ACIT, they just have to start getting it going here on offense and kind of just dig deep and get some points on the board here early.
Good point, Colin. We've got Triton warming up, the clock winding down. ACIT has all done their halftime warm-ups. We'll be right back with 24 more minutes in the Memorial Division of the WJFL. That's for later on in the year. We'll be back in just a moment. ACIT 0, Triton 19, going into the second half here from John Oak Stadium. I'm Dan Wilkins, joined by Colin Morris on the call. David Cohen on the production. The student section up against the rail. They have been loud at this halftime break as Triton gets the return. Tackle down at the 45. And Triton will get their first drive of the second half after the return by Antonio Clary getting that time.
And the Mustangs are going to start at their own 45, 1st and 10 from there.
First and 10 for the Mustangs from their own 45. They send Lewis in motion. Little tush tap that time is now on the right. Here comes the Triton Mustangs again. That was Morris on the carry who picks himself up.
And number 5,
let's see here. They're going to spot this one all the way over at the 35. That's going to be a gain of 20. Gain of 21 actually, because they're up at the 34.
They have a first down. They're going to continue their drive at the RedHawks 34. Are you ready, Joseph? Get this crowd going, kid.
So we've got
Joseph's
again 21-yard gain. Already great field position for the Mustangs. It's just one play into this second half. They send a man in motion off to the right side. A little bit of trickery there with the rush, and now finding more space up the middle all the way up to the 20. Jaden Mank on the carry. Haven't heard his name too much tonight, but he gets himself into the red zone. They're at the 16-yard line.
For another Mustang first down.
And this is, you know, this Triton team, this is where they're going to have to start taking over. The momentum's on their side. ACIT is absolutely dead in terms of any energy or momentum. So this is where Triton can really start to bury them here in the second half. And, you know, we're just under 11 minutes in. So
just getting started. I'll tell you, there has been a big energy shift in this crowd, though, for what it's worth. They have been putting on the fire tonight as here comes a rush. Another one by Mank up the middle. Nixon Matos will get the tackle. They'll keep him on his feet. And this is going to be, looks like a loss on the play, if not neutral gain. Triton going back to the basics on the rush that time. They got a gain of 4.
You heard him, folks.
Second and 6.
You heard Joe Phillips here. Get up, everybody.
That gentleman's name is Joe Phillips, kind of the hype man for the Mustangs in the blue face paint as here comes the rush. Flag on the play.
Flag on the play.
Dan, I like to say there's something about these small schools, man. I mean, I know it's a group of 3, but you know, Triton's one of those smaller group threes.
It's a big school in a small town.
Right, and
false start.
You know, this is you know, quite frankly, what you know the town lives for is these nights, and Triton, the Mustangs, the football Mustangs are delivering, quite frankly.
I'll tell you this, just from a perspective, as a broadcaster, I like the Thursday night games because it allows us to have triple headers. But also, if you're a student, Thursday night games kind of take the wind out of your sails a little bit because it's a school night. You got to go to bed at some point. I mean, I don't, but you do, and you have school the next morning. The good thing is that if you win, you go back and you have a Friday where you're like, yeah, our football team won. But then at the same time, it's like, oh, I got to get to bed and I got to get up at 7 o'clock in the morning to go to school. This crowd is maybe the most energetic I have ever seen for a school night game on a Thursday night. I mean, this crowd has come out in droves. Unless they have a teacher's in service tomorrow, I don't know. Here comes the rush. QB keeper that time as the snap looked like it kind of fumbled in his hands a little bit from the QB Mannion. And after they lost 5 yards on the false start, he gets 5 yards back and he's at the 10. Second and mid-range.
3rd down for the Mustangs.
You know what it is, Dan? It's probably the construction night. It probably is. That's probably what it is.
You're not letting me live that one down, aren't you?
No. All jokes aside, though, seriously, yeah. I mean, this is a great showing for a Thursday night. But I mean, like, I don't know. I mean, I saw that kid just like pacing back and forth. I mean, he's just
They've got a hype man. They've got
his heart rate is.
They've got
through
multiple
the roof.
hype man. Yeah, hopefully he's got a Fitbit on him. You know, reach your step goal. 3rd and 4.
Forgot there's a football game going on.
Hand off left side.
Oh, look at
ball
that.
came out, and ACIT might just take the wind out of the sails of this crowd. As a fumble recovered in the clearest of days
On the ball,
by
lost on
the
play.
RedHawks.
The RedHawks recover it. They are going to take
And
possession.
they pick up a possession that time as Triton with their,
And it looks like they're going to
I
start
believe it's their
at the
second
14,
turnover of
first
the
and 10
game.
for
It's
the
going to
RedHawks.
pin the RedHawks at the
Mustang.
14-yard
Right
line. But
14-yard line.
ACIT still looking for their first points of the game. They stop the Mustangs before they can get into the end zone.
And that is, quite frankly, the only thing you could not do in that situation. Triton has unlimited momentum, unlimited energy coming from their student section and their sideline. I mean, everything was going right for the Mustangs, but now, I mean, that is literally the number one thing you can do is turn over the ball, even if you didn't get any points in that. But that's just a absolute momentum killer. And now ACIT, they got to capitalize.
Especially if the RedHawks score. This is going to be a big momentum-shifting drive for both the RedHawks and the Mustangs. It's a throw a little bit high, but it is caught. Tries to find a little bit of space. He does, and he'll get up to the 29-yard line. Catch made by David Nixon Matos that time. Again, for the rest of this DWB weekend in Week 3 of football
RedHawks pick
action,
up a first down.
we've got the Delsea Crusaders and the Kingsway Dragons in action on Friday night.
They'll continue
And then the
that.
Woodstown Wolverines and the
29.
Woodbury Thundering Herd. Well, first of all, the next 3 Saturdays are going to be all Woodbury. The 20th will be Woodstown. The 27th will be Glassboro. The 3rd will be Gateway in what was formerly a Thanksgiving rivalry. They'll be spotted this one at the 29. They send another man in motion as here comes Gaetano from the shotgun. He's going to be stopped at the line of scrimmage. Not sure if they were just trying to hand it off and it didn't work or what, but didn't get too far that time.
Yard
Second down.
picked up on the play. I think that was number 79, Tyson Wilcox.
And I gotta be honest, and I'm pretty disappointed I can't make it to that Delsea Kingsway game because I'm super excited to tune in for that tomorrow because that is going to be just an outstanding game. I mean, those are two
top of the line programs,
right, powerhouse schools, you know, big programs going at it. I'm sure it's going to be a good one. I'm happy you guys are covering it since I can't be there, but you know, obviously excited to go to Woodbury on Saturday, but that's going to be just a fantastic game.
It'll be myself and Jake Steidler on the call tomorrow night as here comes a rush up the middle by Gaetano. Looked like the ball almost popped out again. Minimal gains that time. They'll
Number
have to
6,
throw it
Chico
here. I mean,
with
it's
the quick
3rd and
grab
looks like it's
takedown.
going to be about
It's gonna
3rd and
third
7
down for the
after this
RedHawks.
play, after this rush. And Gaetano right now is going to be in some trouble. He's had a couple of QB rushes where the O-line just hasn't really held up in the way he wanted it to. You now line up on 3rd and 8. You're at the 32-yard line. First down markers at the 39. I say run a curl route, try to hit it to the right side, get as many yards as you can without trying to gamble too much. You can have a pass on this play without putting up too much of a gamble here. You just need to create some offensive space, have a little misdirection on your receiving side, and they will have 3 receivers lining up to the left. No, just 2 receivers to the left lining up this time for the RedHawks. So we'll see where they put this one. Gaetano drops back. He will throw over the middle, almost picked off, but the deflection is made by number 1, John Pettigrew, putting some business on both sides of the ball.
Deflected by number 1, John
Again, Pettigrew probably a good candidate for player of the game with
Brings
2
the
rushing
RedHawks
scores
to
tonight.
their
1 for
fourth
4
down.
yards, 1 for 22, and now 4th and 8. So the idea was there. RedHawks tried to come in and get the pass done, but unable to capitalize after a huge turnover on the fumble. It was Triton's second turnover of the game. RedHawks don't have any, I believe. They've been pretty conservative, and they've punted it away on every time they've gotten into a bad scramble. Here comes Gaetano, taking a long time to punt this one. This one's going to sail, and this is going to be another good pin at the 15-yard line.
And on that
Eventually letting that one stop was, again, number 22, Landon Petticord.
RedHawks punt. Mustangs
And on that
take
last
possession
play, I mean, guess who?
at
John
their
Pettigrew.
own
I mean,
15.
he has been all over
And
the
I'm
field
pretty
tonight.
sure
We
there
talk
might
about
still be
Jalen Morris
pizza
being that
hot
guy
to
for
go
Triton
at
who
the
is kind of
Sexton.
can do it all for the Mustangs.
$3
But
a slice.
You know, John Pettigrew kind of proven to be that guy tonight already with 2 touchdowns and doing it on the defensive side of the ball. I mean, Triton obviously caught a break there with a punt, but that offense, mistakes like that can't happen all night because we're going to be in a close game if it keeps happening.
Well, I'll tell you this, Triton has to have at least a little bit of silver lining, thinking that you've taken 6 minutes off the board with no points, because right now you have the lead. And extending the lead would be great if you're the Mustangs. But after a fumble and a punt, your biggest opportunity there was to defend your lead, and that's exactly what they did. They fumbled the ball, but it was inside of the 25-yard line, and Anthony Catano and crew just couldn't get it done. And now you find yourself pinned inside the 15 with a lot of room to shave off a lot of time on the board and prevent ACIT from getting any momentum. Gets a block. Head-to-head contact, and a flag's going to come in.
Nice run by Jaden Menk. There's a flag on the field, though.
Menk came running in. The tackle was made by number 5, Imari Dennis.
And after that
I saw that head-to-head.
I saw the head.
I think it's going to be a hold on
There is no
Triton.
more hot pizza.
We'll see, though.
There's not even cold pizza, kids. There's no pizza left.
Wow. It's a good thing. Maybe it's a good thing we didn't try to wait in line too long for that halftime pizza, because they just announced they're all out. It only took them about 10 minutes to sell out all of Marino's Pizza here in Runnymede. Referee's talking over the situation again. I don't know. You saw a hold on the O-line, you said? And then we both saw the helmet-to-helmet contact. They will call a block in the back.
Right, okay.
But there was a pretty decent hit that time.
On Triton.
And that's going to knock them back decently far in what's already poor field position. Back at the 14-yard line. So actually it didn't knock them back too far because, again, it's a spot foul.
Down.
So they lose what they had gained, and now it's going to be 1st and 12. Which, again, with all of these spot fouls in high school, you don't see that too often, 1st and 12. But this is where we stand. Mustangs with 1 receiver on each side. They send Okanobwe in motion, as that will be a rush up the middle. Barreling through is Mank. He will get up to the 20-yard line for a gain of 7. And going down on that play was number 1, which, excuse me, would be
Jaden Menk picking up those
Kazir
lost
Stevenson.
yards.
He went
Picks
down
up
without
7
really
on the
receiving
run.
much
It's
contact.
Second
Curious
down
if
with
maybe he
5
got
to
a
go for
cramp or
Mustangs.
something, but 5:05 left in the 3rd quarter. They'll take a knee on both sides. Oh, he's in a lot of pain that time. He's trying to back up a little bit. Oh, I'm sorry, that's number 16, not number 1. That would be Joseph Heislip, who is down. So they're giving him attention, and we'll take a quick break. With 5 minutes left in the 3rd quarter, no changes from the first half score. It's 19-0. Third quarter, Heislip went down with an injury. Lots of shifting on both sides. Oh, as Mannion hands off to Menk. Wasn't the cleanest transfer that time, but this is now going to be 3rd and mid-range. as we have under 5 minutes to play in the third quarter. Not too many games going on right now, but Burlington City is up on Riverside 28-8 in the third quarter. Yeah, as you get deeper into the season, you're going to see less and less Thursday night games. But from what I understand, the state basically said because of the referee shortage that each team has to schedule at least one game on a Thursday or a Saturday. Now, my personal opinion, I'd like to see more Saturday morning games as opposed to more Thursday night games.
I agree.
But, I mean, these schools pay a lot of money for the lights. I understand why they want to use them. They send a man in motion now. Mannion fires a throw. It's off of his back and it's picked off. What a play that time and what awareness from the RedHawks. Interception by Nasir Macon as he put the pass right into the back of his receiver. That was Mank. He tried to catch it from his back. It got popped up into the air, and ACIT's number 2, Macon, comes down from him, and it's the third turnover for Triton, this time putting the RedHawks in prime field position.
And it's the number one thing. I'll say it again and again. You can't turn the ball over when you're up by 3 touchdowns. I mean, it's just the number one thing.
Second time this quarter.
And the first time they were a little bit lucky. They were just in their own territory, which kind of pinned ACIT back. But now they're on the doorstep here. I mean, they're just outside the red zone. If ACIT scores here, we have a game, and they have to. If they want any chance to win this game, they have to score here with 3:50 left in the third.
Yeah, at least go into the third quarter break with a score on your back. Something, considering that Triton has missed 2 PATs tonight, 1 standard PAT and then 1 2-point attempt, as this pass is caught by Stevenson. They get about a yard on the play. Again, they're making some yards here, but not enough for this to really move me a lot. I could be proved wrong here, but I would imagine if ACIT scores, they would try to go for 2.
Second down.
We were talking about Delsey Kingsway. We did pick up a second Kingsway game for later in the season on October the 3rd versus Hamilton. The Hamilton Blue Devils will be making their first DWB appearance. High school number 121 for those counting at home, which is just me, but 2nd and 9. On the doorstep of the red zone there at the 21. 2 safeties up this time, man in motion. Number 24, Nicholas Dummett. Rush. Left side. They will shove him with the whistles blowing. Again, not trying to. Triton doesn't want to back themselves up into any other penalties there. So as soon as you hear the whistles, hands off, hands up.
Making sure no holes are found in the middle of the field.
They'll be right at the right at the 21. So no gain on that last play. They're at the 21. It's 3rd and 9. First down markers up at the 13. So about more like 9.5 yards, but they'll still line this one up. 2 receivers to the left. Haven't seen any trips formations from Gaetano and the RedHawks, but now he's going to pass. Left side, he does find his man. This may be enough. He is still on his feet. That will be enough. They're inside the 10-yard line. Hold on here. No flags, but there definitely was some shoving after the play as they tried to avoid any extracurriculars. This time ran into some. And now a Triton player is down.
Find a way to get a first down.
So it was enough for a first, and it looks like they're just going to drop the sticks for 1st and goal because I think they're right at the 10-yard line. And ACIT and Triton will attend to this player as, again, Mustangs dealing with an injury on the far side of the field. Good progression, though, on this drive from the RedHawks. Didn't look like they had anything going, and then a nice 11-yard pass to the rusher on the left side. Again, I believe that was Nixon Matos who got the reception that time on the far side, was able to drive it into the 10, and they'll be able to drop it the sticks for the RedHawks' first and goal of the night. And it comes with 2 minutes left in the third quarter. Here on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting, we are here from John Oakes Stadium. This broadcast is brought to you by Rowan College of South Jersey at Gloucester campus. Become a road runner today and become an athlete with one of the best community colleges in the Northeast by visiting rcroadrunners.com, or become a student at rcsj.edu. The next fall session starts on October the 6th. Also, this broadcast is brought to you by our good friends over at Harper Driving School. Over 90% of students who take their New Jersey State driving test with Harper pass on the first attempt. You can book an appointment today at Suite 4 of the Total Turf Complex in Pittman at 614
Quick
Rams
announcement
Road.
about the snack stand. They're going to close the snack stand
Just behind
at
that
the
Mustang
end of
Country
this quarter.
sign is
So this
the
is the
Jim
last
Doyle
call for the
Pavilion,
snack stand.
which was when we were here this time last year on September the 19th. We actually saw the pregame ceremony in which they memorialized and named the Coach Jim Doyle Pavilion. Again, a lot of changes to this Triton Mustang Stadium. They renamed it to John Oak Stadium just about 7 or 8 years ago. As, again, that player on the far side of the field, which looks like it's Braden Lewis, is receiving assistance as he slowly walks off the field. We have just over 2 minutes remaining in the third quarter. ACIT, though, first trip inside the 10-yard mark, as they're going to look to finally get a score before third quarter break.
And like you were mentioning, like Triton, they completely revamped the stadium. Just 2 years ago, they played their home games at Highland.
That's right.
So they completely redid everything. I mean, it's a very, very good-looking, stadium, especially for a smaller Group 3 like Triton. But they completely revamped everything here. Took a year off from home games essentially, and
for the RedHawks.
Now back in their home school and home stadium. But
our first ever high school regular season game was at Highland, but it was Cherry Hill East versus Triton. And I forgot about that because their press boxes are basically identical.
Right.
Highland and Triton. We're right now in the third level. Below us is the standard press box, and then you've got the bleachers. But I forgot that our first game was at Highland. Here's Gaetano. Fakes a pass. He'll get 4 yards. He's at the 6. Found a small gap in the offensive line and was able to take advantage of it. Second and goal from the 7. So a gain of 3.
Yeah, not a very generous spot there either for ACIT. I mean, looked like he had gotten closer to the 5, but they give him only 3 on the play. But still just looking to open up that pass game. It really hasn't been there all day for the RedHawks. And, they can't just kind of keep taking these QB sneakers or whatever you want to call them, QB keepers, I guess you could say. But hasn't really been working, and they're not really making a ton of adjustments. So hopefully they can make one here and get it in the end zone if they want to have any chance of keeping this game close.
They'll still have a whole fourth quarter to go, but they might need a little bit of heroics and a little bit of determination as we're in the final minute of the third. They send a man in motion. They fake on the option. Now it's off to the left side, diving backwards into the end zone. Touchdown, RedHawks. They're on the board. Rush to the left for 7 yards by number 2. Nasir Macon finds the end zone. And it's now a 13-point game as the RedHawks break for their first score of the night. And again, Triton looking for their first home win of the year. It's going to come without a shutout in tow, as it's now 19-6. They will just attempt a simple PAT, because if you think about it, if they score 3 touchdowns and make all 3 PATs, they'll be fine. Gaetano, the jack of all trades, with the hold, and Landon Petticord to kick to make this 19-7. It's up, away, and good. 54 seconds left in quarter number 3. It's Atlantic Tech 7, Triton 19. We'll take a quick break.
Mustangs. streamed by Dan Wilkins Broadcasting.
19-0, a minute left, actually 54 seconds left. So take a look at this touchdown here as, again, I'll rewind it a little bit here because watch this. They send the man in motion, and I thought they were going to hand it off to him, but the snap was actually too late unless they had maybe a late pitch, but they handed it off to him. And I like how the fact that he has that awareness, jumps out to the left side, has one man before him, cuts to the right, then dives forward, and in the hodgepodge of everybody, dives on his back and gets into the end zone to put ACIT on the board. PAT was good by Petticord. It's 19-7. That one's going to be kicked. Triton is going to hang on to it. I think there wasn't enough momentum for the ball to get kicked out of bounds. They're back at the 20. Big hits, and they're stopped at the 24-yard line. So Triton and ACIT going back and forth. And now with 45 seconds left in the third quarter before we go to the third break, Triton will have another chance to advance the ball and try to put some points on the board. They'll probably have time for one or two plays before the quarter break. But they'll start this party from the 24.
And for ACIT, I think it's, obviously get a stop, right? I mean, that's pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah,
but
not rocket science.
But for Triton, it's going to be hanging on to the football. I mean, they cannot keep turning over the ball like they have in the second half and win this game. I mean, ACIT, don't forget, even though the momentum has been with the Mustangs the entire game, this is a 2-0 football team in their second year as a varsity program. So, not that, Triton's been overpowering in the second half, but watch out because the RedHawks are right there. They got their first score. They're feeling it a little bit more on that sideline now, and it'll be interesting down the stretch, Dan. I mean, we talked about it bearing a comeback. We were talking about ACIT being 2-1 at the end of this, but now we have a game now.
Triton calls a timeout with 47 seconds left. We'll stay on the air. We'll go over our programming schedule for next week. On Tuesday, September the 23rd, join us for esports action over in the virtual lands of DuQuoin, Illinois. We have race number 8 of 17 in the BPNR season over at DuQuoin Fairgrounds, the real-world mile dirt track in Illinois. But then on Wednesday, the 24th of September, we've got more JUCO women's soccer, nationally ranked RCSJ Roadrunners versus the Union Owls. 4 o'clock kickoff from the Roadrunner Athletic Complex in Sewell. And then we mentioned this weekend, Delsea and Kingsway on Friday night, Woodstown and Woodbury on Saturday at 11 a.m. For the next weekend of action, we have WJFL United play on Thursday, September 25th, between the Bishop Eustis Crusaders and the Buna Chiefs. Then on Friday, it's going to be a battle for the Constitution Division on Friday the 26th between the Burlington Township Falcons and the Delran Bears. And then more Woodbury on Saturday the 27th versus the Glassboro Bulldogs Group 1 State Championship. Over to the left side, not getting any progress there. He was able to stay in bounds thanks to the ACIT defense. They've got 35 seconds left. An ACIT player, I believe that's Stevenson, slow to get up. Able to do so with the assistance of two of his teammates, number 19, Sincere Macon, and number 99, Nathaniel Arelis. We've called his number a couple times. They've got 15 seconds left. Triton does not appear to be in a hurry, although I will say that Mannion is taking the field. They're spotted at the 25, or 26 rather, so again, not a lot of urgency here. They're going to get an extra huddle because they're going to wind this one down at the end of the third quarter. It is ACIT 7, Triton 19. The RedHawks put themselves on the board, but that was a late stand by ACIT, but they do prevent the shutout. Here from John Oak Stadium, we'll be back in just a moment. Here from John Oak Stadium in Runnymede. Some cars going to the Black Horse Pike. It's a little bit dark out there, I'll tell you that. But we are well illuminated here in the stadium. Dan Wilkins, Colin Morris, and David Cohen working with us this evening. Also want to give a quick shout out to my wonderful mother, Donna Wilkins. She turns 59 years old tomorrow. Well, obviously the first DWB producer, working pretty much every game in 2021 and 2022. But all of this wouldn't be possible without her support. So shout out to Mom back at home. 2nd and 9 from the 26-yard line. Handoff by the Mustangs over the middle, and they find some space. It'll be enough for a first down. Tackle made by Nixon Matos, or excuse me, by Macon that time. Pettigrew picked up the rush, and he picks up the first down, again solidifying his case for player of the game if the Mustangs win this one.
1st and 10 from the 41.
They're at the 41 this time. 1st and 10. As again, the Mustangs will probably use this entire fourth quarter as an exercise in clock management. You're up by 2 scores. You can very easily waste a lot of time. We saw that with Paulsboro and Pennsgrove 2 weeks ago, where Pennsgrove didn't get any points on their first drive of the game, but they took 8.5 minutes off the board. It's a lot easier to do it in high school than it is to do in, say, the NFL, which is why clock management is a lot more effective in high school. Here comes another rush up the middle. Pettigrew, though, getting himself in great territory, moving across the midfield stripe. They're up to the 45. That's back-to-back first downs for the Mustangs, and more specifically for John Pettigrew.
And Pettigrew doing what he's been doing all night, just dominating the line of scrimmage. I mean, there has been no player on the field tonight that has left more of an impact than John Pettigrew. And you know, the senior running back who, honestly, I mean, he comes in as the RB2, but has really been the RB3 throughout the year. I mean, Jalen Morris has gotten way more attempts, way more yards, and then obviously Jaden Menk has solidified the RB1. But, I mean, if you have 2 lethal running backs, especially for an offense built like the Mustangs, it's going to be huge on the stretch.
Left side, this one's another rush by Pettigrew, this time for 5 yards at the 40-yard line. But again, Pettigrew just moving the ball here, obviously advancing the ball, maybe putting more points on the board. That's big because ACIT needs that time. And right now it's being taken away from them. Because if you wind down that play clock for pretty much every play of the fourth quarter, you find yourself in a position where if Triton scores, the game's basically over, in my opinion.
Right.
And if Triton doesn't score, they're going to find themselves in a position where ACIT isn't going to have that much time. Because right now you're at 2nd and 5, even if you don't score, even if you don't get a first down, which they will, or at least they're very close to it. I think that's another gain of 5, and they will move the chains here.
Number
so
2, Jaden Menk.
right now, let's talk about the scenario. If they
Mustangs.
have 3 rushes that don't get a first down, and then you punt or you have a turnover on downs, assuming you have 40 seconds on the play clock, you'd pretty much waste all of that time. You're going to take at least 2.5 minutes off the board, if not 3 minutes, just through that alone. You've got 9:30 to play, 2-score game, 19-7. Triton's got to be in conserve mode here. They have to be putting on that, I wouldn't say cruise control, but they've got to be very aware of their surroundings and know that if you advance the ball and, you know, maybe, I don't think they would pass. Oh, they do pass out to the left side. It is complete, though, out on the far side of the field, and he's going to get wrapped up for a gain of 7.
And something that, you know, obviously we saw the pass there right on cue, Dan. But something that we haven't really talked about is the big guys up front. I mean, Pettigrew has been dominating, but there have been, like noticeable gaps for this running game and for this offense. So the big guys up front are doing an excellent job for this Triton Mustangs team so far. And as you were saying, just the situation we're at, you know, at this rate, we're still at 2nd and 4. But, you know, another first down here would make it really tough. But even if they are to stop them, they're going to already be almost halfway through the fourth quarter. So it's going to be interesting to see how ACIT manages this, obviously with all 3 timeouts. But
and ACIT's gone to the air, but they haven't really done any deep field shots. As here comes another rush, trying to use that O-line to his advantage. He's going to get up to the 25. Again, they're averaging about 5 yards a play pretty consistently here. And they will tell them, or at least I thought they were going to tell them to move the chains. They might require a measurement. We'll see. I mean, they are they're close, but they do call it a first
Pettigrew
down.
again, another first down for the Mustangs.
Again, I'm sure if you're Mancuso, you would have loved a measurement there that would have gone your way, but it's another set of downs. It's another opportunity for Triton to take more time off the board, as Triton would improve to 2-2 with a win. ACIT, again, in what has been a very impressive start to the season, 2-0, a win over Vineland at Gattoni Stadium, a game that they lost 18-0 last year. They turned it around for a 1.21-20 win. 20-19 win. They shut out Deptford last week. They've got a tough couple of weeks ahead with Cherry Hill East. They've got Absegami on Thursday the 2nd, St. Joe's Hamilton on the 11th, and then Bridgeton and EHT to close out the year. And then after that, for Triton, again, they would improve to 2-2. They lost to Camden Eastside to open up the year, 21-7. They beat Middle Township on the road with second-year head coach Gavin Liepe, 43-14. And a flag comes in from the backfield. Or flag comes in from the defensive side, excuse me. False start on the offense. But after the Cherry Hill East game, which saw Triton fall 28-14, they've got another home game next Friday versus Bridgeton, and then road game versus Cherry Hill West, a Friday night home game, as Colin was talking about, the Triton-Highland rivalry. Is that just called the Black Horse Pike rivalry? I don't know what if there's an official
Not
name
really,
for
just
it.
because like Timber Creek's in there as well, so
Yeah,
it's hard to classify
it's
that.
3
It
schools.
is a Black Horse Pike
rivalry,
right? Yeah, so
it's just, there's more than one.
right.
It's more than one combination. Here's
But
the handoff.
It's always exciting.
Right
so,
side, good
nonetheless.
blocks by the Triton O-line, and he's going to get some space. Flag comes in from the sideline as, again, Pettigrew with the rush. Tackle was made by number 26, as it's Keon Monseg Parker. Picks up the tackle.
And that's holding on the Mustangs.
Holding on the offense. So it will go back to, we'll see where they knock this back. I mean, it's going to be, funny enough, it's going to be a gain because of the spot foul, but it will be at the 23-yard line for a gain of 2. As we mentioned, though, we have that Highland-Triton game on the 10th, and then 2 straight road games to close out the year versus EHT and Deptford. Handoff, Pettigrew struggling to stay on his feet that time and struggling to get any offensive output, as he maybe gained a yard or 2 that time after the holding call. And they'll be on the doorstep of the red zone, but again, if you're ACIT, you have to be darting your eyes at that clock and thinking now, as we speak, they have 6 minutes remaining. Triton could, as long as they don't turn it over on this play, take another 40 seconds off the board. And you're going to see this kind of situation where, again, we're talking about 3rd and 7, just outside the red zone. It's a high pass. They will break a tackle, and they're going to get a first down. That's a huge dagger for Triton. It's not the dagger we're looking for, but it will complicate this any further because Triton's up by 2 scores. And again, this has been a fantastic clock-wasting drive by the Mustangs. This has been a huge opportunity for Triton to take away time, to take away opportunities. You now get another set of first downs. You get one just inside the 15-yard line with a big gain that time. And now Triton's going to be hanging on. Even if they don't get into the end zone, ACIT is going to have their hands tied, and they're going to be stressed for resources here if they have another offensive possession. There's a full guarantee, there's a full possibility that Triton could hang on to this ball until that clock hits 0, or even forcing ACIT into a 2-minute drill. It's going to be an uncomfortable situation for the RedHawks.
Pettigrew picks up another 3 for the Mustangs, 2nd down.
And it's Pettigrew and Menk, right? It's their
back and forth.
Right, it's their back. It's their that room has just been so stacked tonight. Excuse me, in terms of just the Triton offense. And Mannion, he's been good, but he hasn't even had to like showcase as much as he had to. He's had a couple deep balls here and there to Jalen Morris mostly, but getting there for the Triton running game. I mean, it's been Menk and Pettigrew really has been the main guy.
ACIT lining up with one safety. Here comes a handoff. That will be downed at the 9. First down markers up at the 4, so when they drop the sticks, they won't have far to go, but they do get another. Now they're going to be at the 10, so it's only a gain of 1 that time. But again, Triton hasn't been gaining that much. They have just been gaining so consistently 5 or 6 yards on almost every play that a gain of 1 feels like an anomaly. It feels underperforming because they've just been that consistent on this drive. They now, again, we're now down to 3.5 minutes.
And ladies and gentlemen, just a quick reminder.
Wouldn't be surprised maybe if Braden Lewis tries a field goal.
Onto the field or onto the track.
Again, we've got 3:30, 3rd and 7. They're at the 10-yard line. Here we go. Handoff. Mank. Not going to be a first down, but another solid gain, as it feels like this ACIT defense is leaving way too much room for comfort. They will signal 4th down.
And it's 4th down for the Mustangs.
They actually didn't get as far as I thought they would. Again, they're giving ACIT benefit of the down here. They're going to be at the 8-yard line. It's 4th and 5. And again, now you're down to 3 minutes. Even if you don't get this play, even if it's a turnover on downs, first of all, it would be Triton's 4th turnover of the game. That's something where if you are one of those coordinators that wants to find a room to improve on, even in a win, that will be where you highlight it, is those turnovers. Because if you find yourself in a situation where you win this game, but you all still give up 4 turnovers, I'm sure there's at least one coach on this staff that won't be happy about it, if it's not Dominic Tomeo. Time called. See who called this one. It is Triton. They burn their 2nd of the half. And just like that, through all the rambling and vamping that we've been doing, we've got 2.5 minutes left in this 4th quarter. And Triton could really put themselves in a winning position here on 4th and 5. We'll be right back from the 7-yard line, 19-7.
Keeping it lively.
19-7, 4th and 5. Big play here for the Mustangs. And what has been, it almost feels like an eternally slow 4th quarter. But Triton kind of putting your football brains to the test here. As 4th and 5, they dump off a pass. It is caught. They will get a first down, and that could be the ball game. If they are able to get a couple of plays there, it will be. Well, actually, this might be closer than we thought. I mean, the first down marker's at the 4. Where are they putting this? They're going to ask for a measurement. You know what? That's a good call. That's a good call, because even if you think that this is Triton's ball, or even if you think that this is a first down, for the sake of keeping everything pure, if all for the sake of keeping things pure, it's probably a good idea to have a measurement here. They've got to keep that chain straight, though. That was a little bit wonky. Tomeo was saying something to the referee there. See where this football is. That's like half a football across. First down, Mustangs. That's all you need. That is all you need. It was half of a football. And on the 4-yard line, they barely had enough. And that could put this game away, because it's 1st and goal. I mean, you have 2:16, do the math, 40 seconds on the play clock. 4 plays is 100 and, let's see, 4. Yeah.
They do have all 3 timeouts, too.
They do have all 3 timeouts, so ACIT can use them, but they're also they're not gonna have any timeouts for if they get the ball back.
And it's gonna be tough anyway, down in their own territory.
Because Triton just feels like they're ready to score.
Right.
Here we go. This could be it. Left side. They are on the goal line. They are. No, I don't think they got it. That rush would have been a score for Mank. would have been his second in what would be an all-rushing game for Triton in terms of the scoring.
And now on the one, you know, if ACIT is able to come and get 3 straight stops on the 1-yard line, even with that, no timeouts, down 2, they're going to need a miracle here, Dan.
Well, time is called. ACIT used their first timeout with 1:51 to play. Again, our schedule for the rest of the weekend, we've got Delsea at Kingsway tomorrow night, followed up by Woodstown at Woodbury Saturday morning. Colin will be helping me on Saturday. Again, if you like what you see on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting, we do have a Venmo if you'd like to contribute at DW Broadcasting. Of course, no contributions are required, but if you like what you see and you'd like to see some more action on DWB, any contributions are greatly appreciated. They all go to, first of all, I'm a second-year college student at Rowan College of South Jersey. A lot of our crew is made up of high school and college students, you know, looking to live the dream of sports broadcasting, and your contribution goes towards helping them achieve that goal. So, again, our Venmo is at DW Broadcasting. No spaces, no hyphens.
I like the neon colors in the
And if you are
crowd,
a small business owner interested in sponsoring Dan Wilkins Broadcasting, send me an email with an advertising inquiry at thedanwilkinsshow@gmail.com. Here comes the rush from the 1-yard line. They are in, and Triton puts the dagger down. The Mustangs take the bite, and they'll have their first home win of the year, barring a miracle, as they score their 4th rushing touchdown of the night. It comes in a late scenario, and the last grip that ACIT had to hang on to this game looks like it's coming to a close, as it will be 25-7, pending the PAT. Just a 1-yard rush that time, pretty simple. It'll be Lewis to kick. Holding will be number 9. Kick is up, away, and good. 26 for Triton, 7 for ACIT. And it looks like that this game is going to end with a Triton victory, a decisive one at that, as they go up by 3 scores. ACIT got 1 to go in their favor, unable to replicate that magic from last year. With 14-7 the final score between ACIT and Triton last year. This year seems like it's a little bit different for the Triton Mustangs as they come ahead. It looks like they're going to improve to 2-2 on this season.
Yeah, and I mean, Triton, this is going to end up being a really solid win for them. I mean, this is an ACIT team, there we go, that comes in 2-0. The momentum was on their side. We talked about it pregame. We talked about it in the first quarter. It was just momentum on the RedHawks side, and Triton, quite frankly, just shut that all down, and they let them know they came into their house, and they weren't going to let them walk away with a win. So ACIT will fall to 2-1, and, you know, Triton will improve, as this is a huge win, as obviously coming off a winning season. That's what they want to get back to. They want to get back to the playoffs. I mentioned it earlier, and, you know, this is going to help because this is a good win for them. You know, divisional game, and, you know, ACIT will head back home 45 minutes with a loss.
Yeah, that's always a difficult bus ride with the extended bus travels to get back to Mays Landing, to the home of the RedHawks, Atlantic County Institute of Technology. Here comes the kick by Lewis. Minute 49 on the clock. They let it bounce once. They let it bounce twice. Stevenson will be on the return, get some good blocks that time. They're going to be up to the 30 here. And they're going to get up to the 40. Did the ball come out or did he step out of bounds? That's the question. As they get themselves up to the 42. And ACIT will have a 2-minute drill looking to get salvage some points here.
Number 1, Kazir Stevenson had a good run there, brought the RedHawks.
Again, the RedHawks had a big first 2 weeks. Again, it is not easy to win in your first year as a program. You know, we look at Kip Cooper. They struggled to win in their first year. They were an NJSIAA independent. Then they got put in the United Division. They had a decent year last year. They've picked up some good quality wins, and now a lot of programs are putting them on their map as they could get moved up a couple of divisions in next year's or in this offseason's realignment. We don't know where everybody's going to go, but I tell you, that offseason realignment news is going to be a fun development to see where everybody goes. Incompletion over the middle. Pass almost got picked off.
No good. Second down.
It'll be second down.
And that would have this place might have exploded if it got to that point. I mean, again, just another risky throw from that ACIT offense, and you know, nearly right into the hands of Jalen Morris again, who just missed an interception early on in the first half. And, you know, if they were to intercept the ball here, or even a pick 6, I mean, that would just I mean, the dagger is already in. However, that would just the momentum.
Yeah, you know how it is. Game-winning game-winning interception to, close out the night and put a statement, put an exclamation point on on this kind of game. That's always a fun sight, but they'll line it back up. 2nd and 10 after the incompletion. They're right in front of us at the 40-yard line, 42-yard line as Gaetano hands to the face that time. He'll get about 6 yards, and he'll get up to the 47-yard line. Still in ACIT territory, but still rushing. Clock was stopped that time.
3rd down for the RedHawks.
Curious if he got out of bounds that time, or
I believe he did. Yeah, he kind of got shoved.
Yeah.
Obviously, with that stiff arm to the helmet, he kind of just
some
dragged
good
his feet out
blocking
of bounds.
by Triton for what it's worth. I mean, it's not bad blocking at all. As now they find themselves 3rd and mid-range. As we'll close out this night. Looks like, again, barring a miracle, with a Mustang win. And again, after losing your first 2 games at home, this is definitely a good revitalizer for the student section. As, man, that D lineman came through, got another hands to the face that time, goes out of bounds for a loss. As kind of barreling in there was Liam Moore, number 7, as ACIT's offensive line has been holding up in these last couple of plays.
Fourth down.
We're back to
for the
4th and
RedHawks.
10. Minute 22, and I'll tell you that clock could not be moving any slower if you're the Triton Mustangs. They want to get out of here. Seems like it's the 4th or 5th game in a row that we've seen go over the 2-hour, 30-minute mark with a handful of injuries. But last week was like cramp week. Highland Penn Saucon had a lot of them. Overbrook, Pennsville, Bordentown, Audubon. Almost every other play, it felt like we were stopping for a cramp. 4th and 10 here. Could be the last stand for Gaetano. Oh, and a movement. I think that was on the nearest facing wide receiver, Stevenson. And that's going to...
He might be lined up over the ball, too.
He might have been lined up offside, which you don't see too often. But the referees will talk this over.
Oh, false start.
No, they do call a false start. Okay.
I don't know. Where he's positioned, it kind of looks like it.
Yeah, where these guys are, we're kind of lined up. Our camera's lined up around the 43, 45-yard line. So I thought something was off there, but then in addition to that, he also jumped. So it's going to be 4th and 15. Again, might as well put your best foot forward and get the offense, keep the offense on the field for a last chance effort. Here's Gaetano. O-line holds up. It is caught. And he is going to get pulled forward for a 1st down. Catch made by number 7, John Ortiz. He's been targeted a couple of times tonight.
Catch by number 7,
So
John
Ortiz making himself
good.
known
The
here
RedHawks
in
pick
the
up a
waning
1st down.
moments of this game. As we now have a minute and 5 seconds left.
And just one last chance here for the RedHawks. I mean, yeah, just to get some kind of feel-good points going into next week.
Yeah, these are feel-good points here. These are morale-boosting points. Would have been worse if they had a shutout. Gaetano cuts to the right, gets a couple of rushes, and he'll get put out of bounds right around the 30-yard line. Clock will stop because it is a 1st down.
Number 4, Anthony Gaetano.
Gaetano last year at a
again for the
61-yard
RedHawks.
rush. In last year's 14-7 win, he had it in the
And
first
RedHawks
half.
Take a timeout.
RedHawks take a timeout. They have 1 remaining. We will also take a timeout. Folks, this game is not moving in slow motion. It's just a long drive. 45 seconds left. We'll take a quick break. RedHawks call a timeout. They have one remaining with the Triton pep band playing on. Again, ACIT with a loss would fall to 2-1 on the campaign, and then Triton to 2-2. And again, it's a big recovery for Triton after losing their first 2 home games. We talk about how much it means to play meaningful football at home in front of your home crowd, as Gaetano, under pressure, takes it himself, gets a couple of blocks, and will get hit for a gain of 13. No, he's not for a gain of 13. He was well shy of that, but it was because he was so far back in the pocket. I ended up messing that one up. But it is enough for a first down. They're going to be inside the red zone. So clock stops with 37 seconds. I mean, listen, we are not on Triton's time right now. We are on ACIT's time, and they will clock out when they tell us they want to clock out, because they're at 37 seconds. They're inside the red zone. They're at the 18-yard line. And again, some feel-good points are on the line. Obviously, those third quarter points where they avoided a shutout were always welcome. I mean, you know, it's never easy to lose on the road when you're playing a team, again, 45 minutes to an hour away. It's even worse if you get shut out. So if you can put double digits on the board, you know, the coaches might not like it, but the players will at least have something to go home about and say, all right, we put 2 touchdowns on the board versus a team we beat last year, and we still got a big upset win over Vineland last week, or 2 weeks ago.
Right, and
good movement, good snap read that time. Gaetano in trouble, 3 men on him, 3 men on top of him, and he gets sacked. That will be a loss of 7 on the play, and it'll be second down. And we'll have another stoppage. No, clock is going to stop here with 31. Not
Pressure
sure.
in the backfield. It looked like number 12, Kyle Pryor, forcing.
And you know, like you mentioned with that touchdown in the third quarter, I mean, that was the interception off the back of the Triton receiver, right? That ball could not have been placed in the hands better for the RedHawks.
That was a gift for the RedHawks.
Right.
And by the way, that is their last timeout called, 31 seconds left.
And they were able to convert after the interception, but you know, other than that, this is the most movement we've seen from them online. I know it's, you know, it's garbage time, and you know, they're just trying to get some feel-good points, as we said. But you know, if they're able to cash in here with 31, like you said, at least they're able to walk away with a little something. But still, not what ACIT wanted to do, to come into, you know, Runnymede and you know, quite frankly, get dominated. The score didn't really show it. It actually ended up being a pretty good game until the very end, but the score won't show that. But at the same time, Triton, they did their job, and it's a happy night here at Triton.
Definitely is a happy night. It is an involved night here in Triton, as I should say here at Triton. We are in Runnymede, just off the Black Horse Pike, in a 26-7 game for the Mustangs, as they are back at second and long. RedHawks burn their last time out. Got that tight end lined up that time, as here's Gaetano. Downfield. This is deep. This is a deep ball, almost picked and almost caught. Stevenson was the intended receiver. Triton tried coming up with that one, and it's going to be fourth down.
Incomplete.
Good idea to look long there. Again, put all your marbles in front. Put your best, most ambitious foot forward here, because ACIT, again, they are, I'm sure in the coaches' minds, they're aware they're going to lose this game, but again, you want to make the best of the situation that you have. And in this situation, ACIT wants to go downfield. They want to put themselves in a good spot, put double digits on the board. But, man, this is a long drive. This is a long last drive of the night. We're kind of swaying up here on the press box because a lot of the energy's gone. The student section, I will admit, a lot of them staying in tow. Maybe some of them have what's it called, the homecoming signs that they put up, as here comes a throw out to the right side for Nixon Matos. He will be short of a first. He'll be about 5 yards short inside the 15. We've got 15 seconds left. There's no timeouts for the RedHawks, and the Tritons will get ready. The Mustangs will try to get lined up on the 50-yard line, even though the RedHawks are going to get ready for one more snap. It is 4th and 7. They've got 3 seconds. They line it up with a second and a half. One last play for it all. It is intercepted for the final play of the game. It doesn't mean too much, but the Triton Mustangs win their first home game of the season. They lost their first 2, and they hang on for a 26-7 win, a 19-point victory for the Mustangs, as they will go back to 2-2 here with a very nice win over the RedHawks of ACIT in a game that we were at last year, a game that they lost last year, and a game that did not sit right with Triton as they now come back on their home turf and they win this thing again by a 19-point victory. Colin, we'll just zoom that out so that our faces aren't too enlarged, but I'll tell you, good game overall by both sides. I don't think that the score accurately reflects how both of these teams played because Triton had almost, I think it was 3 or 4 turnovers in the second half. They had an interception, they had a turnover on downs, they had a fumble. They kind of staggered along, but they also went up 19-0 at the end of the first half, which gave them that cushion for those mistakes to be made.
Right, and it's not ever what you want to see, right? They were trying to run away with that game, save some time, get the clock running, after going up by the limit where the clock starts running. However, the turnovers, obviously the fumble down in the red zone and then a pick in their own territory, which really had kind of danger written all over it in terms of, what ACIT could do on the offensive side of the ball. And obviously they were able to capitalize on, mistakes ACIT made early, but just wasn't enough for the RedHawks to pull away with a second straight year win. Yeah,
I mean, listen, it would have been a very nice morale win for ACIT to go 3-0 to start the year, especially in their second year as a program. Again, we've seen some football teams take years, take generations to finally get over that hump, and ACIT seems like they put themselves in a good position early. They're still over 500. It's still a 2-1 start. I wouldn't blemish on it too much. Again, it's a game you won last year. Triton had a little bit more, probably had a little bit more prep this year, and this team just seemed a little bit more ready to play. When I saw this team last year, again, Triton just seemed like they were making more of the same mistakes. Those mistakes are still there, but they are lessened, and their impact is not as large. But ACIT, they'll go home with a 2-1 record, and they've got a couple big games coming up next week versus Bridgeton. And right now, what I see from Triton is I saw a lot of fluidity in that first half. They were really mixing up who got the ball. I loved that passing release from Jake Mannion, as he was able to really just let the ball fly, and he was able to keep a lot of composure. And as a junior quarterback who did not start the first game of the year, Frankie Williams at the first game went 7 for 12, and then they made that quarterback change. That carousel really throws a wrench into a lot of teams' plans. But as a quarterback, it was your job to stay stable, and that's exactly what he did. And I really liked Jake Mannion's performance. But I will give my player of the game honors to number 1. Why can't I remember?
John Pettigrew.
John Pettigrew. Yeah, I mean, 2 rushing touchdowns for Pettigrew. And even outside of his rushing touchdowns, one of them was a 22-yarder, one of them was a 4-yarder. He also set up the 3rd and 4th rushing touchdown that Triton had, and that just he was the X factor. He was the guy who, even if he wasn't in the end zone, he was the reason why Triton got there. He was the reason why Triton was in the red zone or getting 20-plus yards on a play. Even in that last time-wasting drive where they took 8 minutes off the clock in the 4th quarter, he was getting 5 yards here, 5 yards there, 5 yards here. It was a great night for John Pettigrew, and Dominic Tomeo had some great confidence in his senior back.
Yeah, and I mean, I talked about it during the game, right? You said he was the X factor. He was absolutely excellent. And he comes into the game as the running back, too, behind Jaden Mank, who is obviously another senior captain. But
we saw more of Pettigrew tonight than we did of Mank, I think.
Which is interesting because he is the leading back. And then Jalen Morris was the second leading back, kind of in that wildcat, whatever they used him in whatever scenario. However, it was John Pettigrew who really just kind of stepped up. And sometimes you need that out of some of your, back-end kind of guys. He's a senior. He's a captain. He's been there. He's done that. And, he showcased it today because they needed that kind of boost, and Pettigrew delivered, especially when, Mank was a little bit slower than usual, or maybe Jalen Morris wasn't getting the wildcat going or anything like that. But just excellent stuff from the Triton running game altogether, and honestly a very, very solid win.
Yeah, he wasn't a name that I really had circled on my prep. He really wasn't somebody that I was going to think was going to make a big impact, but John Pettigrew proved us all wrong tonight, and I'll tell you, if you're facing Triton in the next couple of weeks, you might want to watch for that number 1 jersey, as that will wrap us up tonight. Again, big win for Triton. They come in after losing this game last year. They haven't won at home this year. They now finally get one in front of this home crowd, and they do it on a packed night as well. From our entire crew, our social media coordinator, Haley Mejia, our graphics crew, Gavin Van Rel, Caleb Lane, and Carson Rosso, my producer, David Cohen, my color commentator, Colin Morris, I'm Dan Wilkins. We will see you tomorrow night from Kingsway at Anthony Bartchuk Field, as another game should be just as good as this one. 26 for Triton, 7 for ACIT. We'll see you tomorrow.